report in.
Red 10 standing by.
Red 7 standing by.
Red 3 standing by.
Red 6 standing by.
Red 9 standing by.
Red 2 standing by.
Red 11 standing by.
Red 5 standing by.
Yes, Cappy is in here for real. I have the one, the only Aaron Clarey, who is not homosexual. He has no nudes. He has no porn movies. He has nothing salacious in his background. Completely 100% heterosexual, born and raised, red-blooded American. Asshole Consulting. Yes, that Aaron Clarey is in the office today. Live from Las Vegas, Nevada. This is the Irrational Male. Oh boy. And I've got producer Kyle Kitchen keeping things hot, keeping things simmering. Special K. Kylo Tren is in the house. But first, let's start off with a little blast from the past. This is just for you.
What are you guys doing at the mall today?
Shopping and looking for boys. Same.
Which comes first?
Looking for boys. Looking for boys. Just hanging out. Looking for people. Looking for guys. Shopping. Looking for guys.
How about you?
I lost my date. I'm just shopping around, looking for boys. Yeah. Scoping.
You're scoping. So,
Looking for females. Because my females not right. How come? Because it's fun to hang out here. There's cute guys. Yeah, a lot of cute guys. A lot of our friends hang out here. Shopping. Looking for boys. Shopping. Well, I was supposed to meet someone. Looking for cute guys.
absolutely nothing. Well, I come here just to scope out the babes, just to look around, see if they're...
Is that Ryan Stone?
Okay.
Did he get that music?
It's about if you want me to have them. It's not about that.
We're gonna take this.
Wait, I feel like I'm gonna cry.
Did you show me?
Wow. I'm obsessed.
There you go.
Terry, you have no idea what you just did.
Thank you.
No, start of that.
I know, and I've been wanting it for so long.
That's what you said.
You guys. Oh my god.
Yes, this is real.
Thank you very
It's
much.
Black Friday.
Oh my god. She's helping the customers that are buying shit. He said, where does she go? To the people that are fucking paying. Come on, Terry.
Now compare and contrast this with 1991.
You can start asking other people's boyfriends information at this point. Love you, Terry, but come on, bro. You were talking big game, and then we get onto the field, and suddenly you're underperforming, which is fine. I'll pay for my own fucking bag, but I want to leave with a fucking bag. I love you, but you know. Oh, I don't fucking work.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm waiting for somebody that does. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. My sugar daddy isn't paying. Yeah, my sugar daddy's here. Look, wait for him to come in. He told me he was talking big fucking game, right? Get in here suddenly. I don't know, what's not a bitch to me?
Okay, let's get
hot boys.
Let's do it? Really, sweetie? Stop.
Let's just get that.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
We don't have to. We can walk out right now.
We'll go ahead and get it.
Okay.
You better get it while he's saying yes.
Yeah. Go ahead and get it.
I knew this would drive you crazy.
Let me know if
I'm
you
going
want
to
me to
enjoy
bring
it
you
right
back.
now. I'm just going to sit out there and look at the rocks.
She's excited.
that doesn't mean a really good blowjob. You'll notice the theme throughout all of these. Oh, there's more.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I have been dating for about 5.5 years.
Good God, why?
And-
Why so long?
That's what I want to talk to you about.
Is it you or him?
It's him.
Oh, it's him. Okay.
I'm ready. I've been ready for a while. He's known. I told him on our 2-year anniversary. I thought he was the one that was ready, and he's just not there yet.
Okay.
So my question is, how do you know? Like, how would I know if I should still be patient and give him more time, or when it's time to potentially walk away from the relationship?
He doesn't need more time.
No.
What else is he going to learn about you?
I do feel like I've grown a lot.
We all have. If y'all had gotten married 2 years ago, y'all would have grown into completely different people. That's the beauty of being married.
Okay.
Like, you're not searching for this one place where you're finally going to arrive and solidify yourself in concrete and finally be the one. You're going to be a wonky, wobbly, goofbally Anna. And y'all going to get married, and you're going to find out weird things about each other, and you're going to continue to wake up every day and say, all right, I chose her. So what do I do next? I chose him. What am I going to do next? Has he given you any hints or ideas as to why 3.5 years after you told him, think I'm ready to call it with you? You're my guy? That he's like, nah.
Yeah, and I have them here. I asked him a couple weeks ago.
Please make me a list. Please make me a list. Oh, this is going to be great. Okay, go for it.
I did ask that, and I don't think it went as well as I thought. It's kind of hard to hear, but I do have my list.
Okay, go for it.
His biggest one is losing his identity.
Yes. He will not only lose his identity, he will set fire to it.
Yeah.
And he will create a new one with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what marriage is. It's not this parallel track we take together.
Yeah, he said that it's kind of feeds into a lot of his reasons, but he's scared that I'm going to be too stringent, which I am, kind of stringent, but he's scared he's going to live a life that he does not enjoy with me.
Huh. No, you're wrong.
Only after you for your money, bro. Yeah. So what? No shit. What's the problem with that? You're only after her because she's pretty. So what? She wants you for your money. Because then from there, can the relationship grow? Just because she's pretty doesn't mean she's a great person to be around. Just because he has money doesn't mean he's not the worst. So what? So what they're interested in you because you have money? What's far more important is women not being interested in you because you don't have money. It's far more embarrassing to be trying to date women when you're broke. Your priorities are all out of whack. If you had a girlfriend and you can't, here, get your nails done, honey. That's emasculating. That's unfair to them. It's unfair to you. Don't be mad at women for looking for men who can provide, and instead focus on being a man who could provide for his family. The biggest flex for a man is having the ability to take your woman out of the workforce.
Get rich?
Yes.
Oh, that's his expertise. Does it
possibility where you'd let me go to Colombia, Costa Rica, or the Dominican Republic with just me and my friends?
Just go. Have you noticed that I don't like care anymore?
I actually have noticed that, and it's pissing me off. Why doesn't she care
that's why
anymore?
That's why you're trying to get a rise out of me.
Yeah, you don't care at all anymore.
I know, it's kind of boring, right?
I know.
Fight.
I used to like hide my phone. Now she comes over and it's just like girls' asses clapping on Instagram. And she's like, girl power, love it. That's what she'll say to me. She'll be like, well, you want something to eat, honey? She just doesn't care. So are you having an affair? That's the question.
No, I don't want to be bothered.
You're at that point of the relationship where you just don't even care at all either way.
No.
Indifference.
Don't care.
That's good.
But I love you.
I love you too.
Hang out and watch him throw parties. I
went to Philly, followed him all the way to Philly, and he said, yo, Playboy, this party costs $1.5 million. I'm like, you are out of your mind. And I said, Puff, I'll throw you a party for $400. That will rival this party. And he got pissed at me. He said, yo, don't Playboy, don't play with me. I said, no, I'm not. I respect you. But in LA, I'm known for throwing like these cool little parties. So he called like Saturday morning, yo, Playboy, I'm in town, make it happen. I said, cool. So I went into my little phones, called about 200 of the coolest people. Puff showed up with, SUVs and FBI. It was just, it was crazy. Because it was all, Puff was always sort of dangerous. And he looked, he said, oh, that's the girl on that show, and that's the guy on that show. And I said, yeah, we're all friends. We all hang out. He said, oh, man. And I said, yeah, but Puff, look over there on the dinner table. I got Kentucky Fried Chicken. I put it in a nice plate. I said, I got Coca-Cola. I put it in a pitcher. We're at $208, and we are killing it right now.
I'm very excited about that one. You got to
As hubby material, boyfriend material, you get nothing.
Yeah.
Once she loves you, you get nothing.
Yeah.
But the bare minimum. Of course, a lot of them gonna be like, I don't know who you dealing with.
I've given threesomes in the past to men that I've been with without a problem, and I had no feeling or emotion attached to it. But the current guy that I'm with now, in the beginning, like the first month, I used to talk my and tell him that. But now I would never, I don't even want him to look another way, And this is the first guy that I've ever felt like that with.
And then what they say, because I don't love you like that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
But if you was like mine,
Yeah.
you was like my nigga, like I couldn't do this with my nigga. Like and their mind,
Come on now.
they rationalize like I don't love you, so I could just be wild with you.
Yeah.
But my guy, no, I don't want him to see me like that. So I
Facts.
can't. And then I look at it like, damn, that nigga's getting the short end of the
You get the
stick.
shit. That's why a lot of niggas get fooled, because just like you said, the boyfriend potential, so she puts on the act, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then these niggas be feeling like, oh yeah, she made people wait. No, she made you wait.
Yeah,
boy.
she made you wait. She made you wait.
Dude, it's weird hearing my friends try to flirt with strippers. I'm realizing things. I'm realizing there's only two types of guys that flirt with strippers. There's dudes who flirt through money, just trying to show it off. With strip club, that's the place to do it, And then there's dudes who flirt from the heart. That one is sad. If they're flirting from the heart, it's because they ran out of money. You ever seen your boy get in a lap dance but just trying way too hard? Like, oh, baby, your body's so perfect. You're like a goddess. I swear you could have been a princess. I'll stop my boy. I'll be like, bro, it's too late for her. She needed to hear this like in middle school. Saying what she's here for. Go to the ATM, man. My friends don't even know how to flirt, man. They just say things that they hear rappers say. They be like, I could be the one to save you from all this. I could take you away from it all. I'm like, man, strippers, they're living the life. They don't want to be saved. Go to the girl who's like the manager at a Marshall's. She wants to be saved bad.
Broke up with my boyfriend. Had no problems with him at all. He was great.
This is before that you got.
Yes, this was right before summer. I just broke up with him because I was like, I just need more time with myself. I just need to discover who I am. I want to be alone.
Very mature.
I want to just focus on myself. And as hard as it was to lose him and lose each other, I feel like it's all God's plan. It works out in the end. And look where we are now.
Yes.
Why do you hate me?
It's all God's plan.
Did you do this on purpose?
Who my God is. Hallelujah.
Welcome. Sorry for the long, protracted
It's all right.
videos.
It
but
makes me, the absence of pain is pleasure. So
Yes.
now I appreciate my freedom once again.
I know. So you can tell that there's a bit of a theme going on there. So trying to transactional sex versus
the comedy guy threw me off a little bit. It was transactional.
Man, we haven't seen each other in a long time.
Well, you just picked me up at the airport.
Well, I did.
the other day. I hung out.
I mean, we haven't done a show in a long time.
Oh yeah, it's been a while. Sure.
Yeah, we had you on. Gosh, you were on Access Vegas when we were at the old studio. When we were at Sticky Paws.
Yeah.
That was the last time.
Probably a year ago.
Yeah. Yep. Things have changed, man.
Have they? Oh, yeah, I hear you now. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, welcome to the Red One Studios, right? Yeah. So, you have since then, you've actually produced 2 books, I think, The Menu and and A World Without Men.
Yeah, probably past 2 years. Yeah, The Menu and A World Without Men. That was the most recent one.
World Without Men was great, man.
Did you read it?
Well, I listened to it on a trip when I was driving from here to Reno when I was doing all my moves to get down here. But that was actually a really good book.
Did you review it on your channel?
I have talked about it.
Okay.
I have talked
All
about
right,
it. Yes,
that's
yes.
right.
This is the second time I've talked about it. But
my aunt, I can't mention her name, but my aunt, my uncle had died, and we went to the funeral. This is when I first wrote my first book, and my aunt said she's introducing me to different people through extended family. Well, this is my nephew Aaron. He's an author. He wrote a book. I got it. And I look and say, but did you read it, Auntie? And then she got all sheepish and quiet. I'm like, I love you, Auntie. You're my favorite aunt.
Yeah, I know. I love that. Like I love getting into arguments with like people who think that they know what's in my book, or they think that they know like, oh, you're that Rollo Tomasi guy. You always say X, Y, and Z, whatever, insert, bullshit. And I'm like, really? I'm like, have you read my book? No, but I know enough about it. I'm like, have you? It's been available for 11 friggin' years, man. Have you read my book? Because like we could just stop the conversation right now.
You should. You should. No, there's no reason to go on with it. Yeah. No, I don't. I've lost patience over time. Where it's just like, you don't know? Okay, fine. That's fine. You can call me whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I don't know if I don't know if this is something like sort of about like maybe getting on. I'm 56. How old are you now?
You're 49.
You're
Big 50 is coming up.
You're this side of it. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. And like, I can remember because we just had Thanksgiving, right? And I've told this story a couple times. I can remember being a kid, right, and going to my parents' house, my grandparents' house, and watching my grandfather and my uncles who are a little bit old, like the older uncles, because I came from actually my dad came from a very big family, right? I have a younger brother. And so we go out there, and I can remember when like the conversation around the dinner table would go to like politics or go to something social or whatever it is. And the women folk at the table would just be and they would like chime in and ask, like my grandfather or my older uncles, like, what do you think about this? They're just like this.
It makes sense.
I now
understand.
You understand exactly
I have
why
learned.
they did that.
Late 40s.
Yep.
You start to understand your old men and the old men. I'm like, I get it now.
Yes,
I get it.
There's no point. It's like when you get to that age, it's like you've heard the conversation so often before that you know how they're going to end, and you're just like,
Yep.
No, that's all it is.
And you got all like, I just want to conserve energy. There's no reason. The train's going off the cliff no matter what, and it's like I'm not even going to bother yelling. I'm just going to watch it, and there's a lot of peace and contentment that comes with the hands off. Stoic, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Or like, so I hate to do this sometimes, but I have to cut myself off in a conversation because I'm like, at least I have the foresight now to kind of go, okay, I know where this is going. I've had this conversation before. I know what I'm going to say. I know how you're going to react to it. I know what you're going to say in reaction. I know what I'm going to respond with. And it's like, I've done this before. I'm like, it's not that important.
Yeah.
Or like when people, like recently, as you have probably already realized, and yes, people, I will get to what's going on with Destiny. I didn't want to do another show about him because everybody goes, why is that so important to you, Rollo? Gosh, why are you so obsessed? I'm like, well, you know what? You guys weren't exactly obsessed or out of, fucking off the rails when all the shit was going down about 18 months ago with all that shit. So yeah, it is kind of important to me. But it's like, it's only important to me. It's not important to anybody else.
I'm here because I'm curious, because I don't understand the dynamics. I've only have a peripheral knowledge of it, but it is such a huge thing. It's coming up on my feed. It's all over the freaking internet. And I try to stay out of the politics and the drama and all that, but I'm more fascinated what's wrong with society that this is a fucking topic. You know, that's where I don't have my finger on the pulse of society on this one. So what's going on? And that's more my macabre fascination.
I was telling you before, it's like when you're kind of in this boat, but like whenever I have to explain like what's going on in the manosphere, or if I explain, it doesn't even have to be the manosphere. It could just be like online influencers or whatever. Like the worst thing I ever did was get my wife an iPad mini. So now she's like scrolling and like, did you see what P Diddy did? Like, just don't stop. Just keep scrolling.
Why'd you do that?
Keep going. Keep going. Yes. And it's like, do you know what they're doing in China today? Like, no, I don't, please. No, it's whenever I have to explain like what's going on. Like I have a good friend. She's been on the show, been on Access Vegas a few times. Her name is Domo. In fact, she might've been on the show when you were on too. Yeah. And she's, she does her thing. She was a financial dominatrix. She works. She's let's just say quote unquote sex worker. Okay.
All right.
And she doesn't know what's going on with all the shit that was going on with like Destiny and Lauren Southern and all the crap that's been going on since I peg it at the last 18 months because that's when the last election cycles are 18 months out now. And so I had to actually explain to her, like I'm typing this stuff out, like giving her sort of this background, and I'm doing this. I don't have to do this. I do it really so that I can sort of like sort out my thoughts, and I'm trying to explain it to her as well. But there's no easy way to do it. There's no quick way. There's no bumper sticker.
At minimum, there's this much information.
Yeah.
And otherwise they're not going to
understand. I don't want to
it.
bore anybody. And it's just like, you don't want to hear about that.
I totally get my old two different people.
I do like this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My mom, that's it. Yep. Mm-hmm. What do you do? I'm an author, Mom. Mm-hmm. My dad, he is actually fascinated with the world. But it took damn near 3 hours. To get him up to, and then now he understands it. But yeah, there's different types of people, and you got to assess.
How patient they're going to be to listen to stuff. Like even like my wife is very patient because I'll have to explain stuff to her. She's was with me through the whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. So, but even then, like just trying to explain it. I told you this before. Is like whenever I have to explain to somebody who's completely unfamiliar, uninitiated, doesn't know anything about the manosphere, the red pill. The players involved, the influencers, industry, and even influencers in general, right? What's this podcasting thing, Rolo? That kind of stuff. Yeah, I thought you were an author. And like for me to sit down to somebody who's just completely like just virginized to this whole thing, I'm embarrassed. Like I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, because it makes me wonder like what people are going to think of me for actually being involved in this stupid shit in the first place, or getting dragged into it. And like sometimes it's like I need you and like Ryan Stone and some of these other guys to just sort of like drag me down to fucking planet Earth now and then, because like people are going to be asking me like, hey Rollo, what do you think about the Destiny porn leaks and him like giving head to some dude and Pixie blowing him and everything else. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to I was going to have Andrew Wilson on this show, and I probably still will, although I think I probably will do a dedicated show with just me and Andrew so we can sort of review this, because both me and Andrew were right about all of this shit. But the only people who care about that is me and Andrew. Honestly, to the degree that I would think that anybody could appreciate it, it's only important to me. It's only important.
I would disagree. No, I would disagree. I think it's very important because what we're highlighting are liars, frauds, and hypocrites who have an influence on a lot of people. And even though I'm not familiar with Destiny, I am familiar with the redheaded beast, who's the gal who was a porn star and then became Christian, and everybody
Nala fit.
Nala, okay. And I guess now it was all a joke, right? It was all a shtick to get more. You got to know who the liars are, especially if they're influencers. Same thing with the traditional media. It took freaking way too long. It took 50 years for people to figure out the mainstream media has been lying this entire time, and that I know. Fine, you may be, I'm kind of ashamed to be in this world that at times goes a Jerry Springer route. But at the same time, you are a barometer of truth, or at least an investigator, or you theorize about or point things out. I think, Andrew, talking about what would seem to be gossip. Yeah, you don't want to roll into pigs and get mud with dogs and fleas and all that. But at the same time, I think it is necessary, because people are like, well, wait, how'd you know this was coming? How'd you see this? Right. So like, well, here's the information, and the lesson everyone's got to take away from it is you can't be so easily hoodwinked. You can't be sucker punched like this. Right. So I think, yeah, you got to go into you can't take out the enemy without going into their territory. But I think it is important.
Like when I was still doing Rule Zero on like the year end shows, I'd always make those predictions, and I one of them was like, you will not recognize the Manosphere by August, and that was in 2023. And then I also explained, like right around at the end of 2023, I said, you're now going to see what the real, the cyclic nature of like an election cycle and influencers, right? Because influencer, as the elections go and as like social sort of narrative goes, so goes the influencers. Influencers will go. I think this last 18 months has definitely proved this. Influencers will go wherever the clicks are. They will go wherever click-through rate, right? CTR. They will go wherever CTR is. And so you could start out with something that's really popular. It's niche based. You could probably build a very successful brand, but most influencer brands don't last more than 2 years, and 18 months is about average for most of them before they start looking at other avenues and they pivot to other things. And that's what I was saying back in 2023. I said, we're now in the election cycle, and you're going to see everybody run away or try to sort of downplay the red pill stuff that has basically made their brand for the last a year and a half or so. And you'll see them pivot to social issues, culture, Tim Pool, the culture war, political stuff, whatever it is. You will see everybody start pivoting to that, because that's going to be the zeitgeist, right? That's what people are going to start, talking about, social issues and saying, sure shit, that's what everybody did. And like, I'm Rollo Tomassi. I can't be anything but Rollo Tomassi. There's no way I can like legitimately pivot to talking about like Palestine and Israel or pivot into economics. I dabble with crypto with Miguel now and then, and even then it's like, what's this guy doing on here? And that's just because Miguel's a friend, and we can sort of make it, kind of, there's a little bit of crossover.
Yeah, you got some overlapping interests.
Overlapping interests. So, but like for me to go whole hog and say, well, the rational males know about the culture war, like if I was, that would not play, because I am the red pill.
But isn't that the difference between, like I was telling you before, you and I have been here since the writing days, since the blogger days. And it wasn't an industry. And now it is. Yeah. Because if you look like back, say 2005, you poll young people, what do you want to become? Okay, journalist, actor, maybe engineer, whatever. And now the most common one in the United States is I want to be a YouTuber influencer. So it's become this own creature unto itself. And I would say that separates the wheat from the chaff, or at least the authentic from the inauthentic, because not to pat ourselves on the back, we're authentic because we all had jobs before. This is why I like Nuke, by the way. Nuke served in the military. He was a nuclear engineer. He still has a job today. And as a hobby, he's gotten into it where he just has fun. I think that's how we all started out, where we all had this, and we had a true intellectual interest. It wasn't unto itself an industry that I got in and I'm going to buy followers. I'm going to be an OnlyFans lady of the evening, and then I'm going to go to Christianity. And I would say that's kind of the difference. Like if you want to know who to trust online, especially now that people don't trust me, you want to know who to trust online in the influencer community. I'd say people who they're not on this one day, on this the next. And not to be an ageist or anything, I'm not going to trust anyone Gen X younger than Gen X, because you had to have a job or a profession before
you came from the private sector before you moved
right.
into this.
Show me your experience, and then you became an influencer because it was something fun or you had this quirky hobby. Cool. But if you're just, oh, it's this thing now today. Yeah, I think.
Watch this clip. I think this is the clip you're talking about.
Viral creator on. I went on so many podcasts because I knew the only way to grow my was to be viral, and it's such an oversaturated platform right now, and I've been on it for like 5.5 years. So everything I've said on podcasts is complete clickbait. I did it to go viral to then make money, and it worked. I said whatever I needed to because I understand the male brain, and I needed to make money, and I was like,
Wait,
I
so
got taken down.
Basically you lied about everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. See. Yeah. And what are you lying about now? Michael Knowles started getting catching flack from this right here, because he essentially took her conversion to Christianity at face value and really wanted to build her up, and still most of the sort of the trad moms right now are still doing the same thing, because in any way to deny the fact that she might be sincere about her conversion to Christianity
Oh, yeah,
is a repudiation of their own
Rachel
religion.
and Andrew took a lot of flack for that, calling BS on it.
Yeah, and she was still even when she was quote unquote being baptized, and she was being she was talking about her conversion and everything, and she dyed her hair back to blonde or whatever. Even during all of that, she still had an OnlyFans, and she still had multiple accounts on OnlyFans, and was still drawing all kinds. And she walked away like $9 million richer as I think that's what it was. But long and short of it is you had so many people who believed the like she was saying, I understand the male brain. I said what I needed to, and it was all bullshit. And I said what I had to make a lot of money. Well, does that mean we should take what you say right now at face value and you're sincere about your conversion? Oh yeah. And people wonder why people are doubtful of her, of all of this. And is she actually sincere about this? And I would not be surprised to see if she got back into it later on. If the money runs out, she knows she can go right back into the industry again. So it's not that bad. I love that, which way is the wind blowing?
Right.
That's exactly what she's saying.
But here you are, you're worried like, I hate to get in and talking about destiny. I think there's light years of difference between you occasionally talking about a guy who is actually, unfortunately, culturally relevant and Miss Twinkle Hair. Totally
the
with
whole,
JC
the whole
now.
thing with Destiny was this, is that like I had an ongoing discourse with Lauren Southern's ex-husband from the December of 2022, where he hit me up, and it was not, I'm going to talk shit about Lauren and try to get my message out there. It was, I need help finding an attorney because I have an ongoing child custody case with Lauren Southern, who is in Canada, and I am a U.S. citizen who is a government contractor in Australia. And do you know anybody, Rolo? That was really how the conversation started. And I still have the transcripts. I still have saved all of this, the emails and all of our Twitter and our Signal chats and everything else. I've made them. Some of them I've made public already. And one of the things that I made public was he mentioned that there was an ongoing affair between Destiny and Lauren Southern, which was really what started the firestorm of all this. And then, of course, Lauren Southern and Destiny colluded together to go and like forge medical documents of they were faked medical admission documents for some ultrasound that she supposedly had, because there was supposed to have been a child that was produced between Destiny and Lauren. Well, they deny that there was any affair to begin with, right? And so essentially what they were doing was they were trying to like throw everybody off the trail by saying, "Oh, look, we're going to discredit Rolo. He's full of shit. He's just gossip. He's a gossip girl or some shit like that." To basically throw people off the trail of what we now know is actually true, is that they had a long-term relationship, a long-ish term relationship in the summer of 2022, and was a key factor in his split with Melina, his wife. And I mean, I remember watching Lex Friedman, and Melina was saying he likes the crazy ones. He likes the ones that'll baby trap him. And I'm like,
just for me in the audience, is Melina the Scandinavian gal he was married to? And he, if I remember what little history of Destiny I've delved into, they were the open relationship shtick. Okay. All right.
That's what they were explaining to Lex Friedman is like 2 years ago.
All right.
Yeah, and so now she's out, and of course Melina's now confirming this, and but Brittany Simon is one of his girls, and then we see that there's all these leaked texts and exchanges between him and Lauren and other people, like very underage girls, and now we have the amateur porn tapes that are being, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. They haven't released like nearly all of these things yet, and people are, and I don't know this for sure. Allegedly, there's supposed to be some sort of relationship between him and Nick Fuentes. Is that real? I don't know. I highly doubt it, but I don't know what to believe right now with all these people as it is anyway. So I'm just sort of, I was going to actually, like I said, I was going to do something with Andrew Wilson. I'm like, you know what? Let's back off this and wait for see more where the cards fall before we start.
Before you bring in, not to compliment him too much, like intellectual powerhouse like Andrew coming in, probably. I'm answer me one question though. Destiny and Lauren Southern, she's hot.
And very super conservative.
Well, at least
that's what she's supposed to be.
Okay, what the fuck? Really? How? Because I've seen Destiny. he's not an attractive man.
No.
Am I missing something?
He's got, it's funny. I've had this conversation with Andrew before, and I'm like, I honestly don't like. Okay, Justin Waller, I can completely understand.
Hell,
that.
I might take a crack at
that.
Justin.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, $20 is $20.
$20 is $20.
Anyways, so no, yeah, I was kind of dumbfounded by that. But then Andrew and I were talking about this, and he goes, he kind of has this sort of David Koresh appeal. Like he's kind of got this, like, this cultish kind of thing going for him, and I can only sort of like process that by understanding that, like, Jasmine Jafar, Farrah, Pixie, Not So Erudite, I'm thinking like, Melina, God knows how many of these other girls who have been involved with him. I didn't even know that Farrah was even one of his plants until she was on whatever podcast, and then I realized that the connection that was there. And it's like he's got this sort of like this cult following that it's undeniable. I mean, I don't know why, because he's not that attractive. He's definitely on like Vyvanse, or he's a tweaker of some kind.
A tweaker, like he's on drugs.
He's on drugs. Well, he's on. You can tell that I know that he's done Vyvanse, and I know he does Adderall, and I can't say he does meth or anything like that, but everybody always comments on how he kind of moves his jaw every time, which is you didn't live in Reno long enough to know this.
All I know is blue hair guy, open marriage, wife left me. You guys were on a podcast, I think, debating one time. He's been on
very long.
Fresh and Fit
platformed him originally. He came along with Sneeko, and quite honestly, I think Sneeko was the worst thing that ever happened to Fresh and Fit. And you'd quote me on that, because after Sneeko came, came Destiny, came Nick Fuentes, and I like Zerka, but came Zerka, and a lot of the other guys who's just sort of like, again, like trying to find some like relevance in a younger crowd, right? The Twitch kid crowd, and that and Sneeko brought that along with him, and understandably so, because as I was saying before, after a while you kind of have to sort of reinvent yourself. And I kind of see Martin and Fresh kind of trying to go back to the old form, like going back to the, having the after hour shows with the girls and everything. Cause there's been a lot
of bread and butter.
There's a lot of fights that are going on. Like I can't go a week without there being a fight on Fresh and Fit. I'm like, oh, it's just like the old days, but it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't have the same feel that it does.
Right. But my question would be, why would they even have Destiny? I'm trying to figure out, why is Destiny so popular? And maybe is it because I know he had a podcast about socialism and free stuff. So, and are women excited because he's wealthy? Is he a huge internet celebrity and he just because of that weight got invited to these places?
I think there was probably a little bit of clout that was associated with that. Like if you're hanging out with Destiny, then you're probably going to get on these podcasts. You're probably going to move yourself along as an influencer in some way. Most of these girls have OnlyFans, right? So really that, I mean, I have to say this, for Access Vegas, most of the girls that go on these shows are on there because they know that at the end of that show, no matter how bad the show goes, they've got another 50, 100 subscribers.
Right.
They just made $30,000, right? So,
so I can believe that because Destiny was the man of the hour at the right time at the right place, got a lot of clout, got a lot of traffic, ideal demographic, virgin men under 30, millennial virgin boys. And I could totally see growth. That might be why I could see them coming in there. And
honestly, I think there's sort of a cultish appeal. And then also you got to remember that all of these kids are bought and paid for by a Democratic PAC called Progressive Victory. And there's a really good documentary out explaining how all of this sort of fell out. It's a guy, what's his name? Sam Drzmala is the guy who is the creator of Progressive Victory. And essentially what they started doing was buying liberal, democratic, left-leaning, leftist-leaning influencers, and basically just put them on the payroll so that they would say what they wanted them to say, which I will say it's new. It was new to me because it makes sense. And when I told Mike Sartain about this, he goes, they're probably doing that with the right wing as well. And sure as shit they are, because you go and you look at the Russian money that came in to influence Tenet Media. Tenet Media was Tim Pool's sort of offshoot with Lauren Chen, who is official. It's an official U.S. indictment, a Department of Justice indictment brought her before Judiciary Committee. Lawrence Southern also named in that. Tim Pool also named in that. And there's a few other people who are big name influencers who were implicated anyways in a Russian collusion money to have them say what they wanted them to say to the tune of only $10 million, which is nothing to the Russian government.
Well,
right?
yeah.
But it was enough to launch Tenet Media, which was a very big deal. And the number one creator for Tenet Media, Lawrence Southern. And so there's that's going on in the background there. So maybe it had something to do with the money, because a lot of the girls that are sort of part of like Destiny's cult were also on the payroll for, and they can't say anything about it directly because they are all signed NDAs about it. Maybe in 2025 they can talk about it, but now that Trump defeated Kamala, maybe the money's drying up, and that's why you're seeing all these leaks and all of the the videos, and that's why you're seeing the meltdown of Destiny Live in real time right now. And it's I will say this, it's a learning experience to see how this is going on, because this is going to be how future elections are going to be run. Mm-hmm. This is a 21st century tactic. Now we're finally, sort of learning how to run a campaign, as you have the dirty dealings and the end arounds and the things that we can do. And one of those is buying influencers, because they understand that commercial television is dead. They don't care. Swing voters don't give two flying fucks about like Fox News.
Kamala paid a bunch of washed up actors to go in and endorse her. Right. I mean, it's just, the intelligent money went to young influencers to yet then Kamala didn't go on Joe Rogan, which I don't understand. But no, you're right. That makes sense where, okay, he already had the momentum. He already had the clout. He is leftist. The one thing, when I looked into him, he was known for like,
very much so. Well, the thing that got me is like, I remember when like listening to him try to talk about like the manosphere. He's an authority on the manosphere, on Chris Williamson or on Lex Friedman. And he's going to go on these shows. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is I'm looking straight at you guys who platform Destiny. You're at fault. You are the fucking problem. Not Destiny's going to be Destiny no matter what. He's going to take money. He's going to say what the fuck he's going to say. You are the fucking problem. If you platform this kid, you are responsible for this fucking Frankenstein monster that was created as a result of this. And if you gave him credibility, this is the guy who has his sex cult, has his, is flaming homosexual, bisexual, whatever the fuck he is. I don't even know what to call him, right?
We're talking Destiny.
Destiny, okay. Frankenstein monster. You guys fucking created this. And when I go and I remember that that Pierce Morgan put him on.
He got on Pierce Morgan?
Oh, several times.
What?
Several times. You know what? He was debating Tommy Lahren on the geopolitics of Israel versus Palestine. But Pierce Morgan, you are the problem. Okay, I'm pretty confident in saying this. You are the fucking problem. If those are the best people you could get to discuss foreign policy on your show, it's time to pack it in, Pierce. It's over. Like, I mean, come on.
It almost sounded like it just became a whirlwind, like a self-feeding storm.
Yeah.
Because why is he popular? Because he's popular, like the Kardashians.
Well, you got to also remember that he's also a paid, like, for lack of a better term, operative of a political action committee, and he's probably the number one because he has had the biggest audience, right? So I'm like, how the fuck does this guy get on Pierce Morgan to debate Tommy Lahren about something that's completely out of left, not in his wheelhouse whatsoever, right? And I'm like, well, it's because they paid him to get him on there. They had to put money to get him on there, and people like doubted me on this when I said this, and I'm like, well, that's how shit works. You can pay to get on Chris Williamson's show. You can pay to get on.
Oh, kind of like you can pay to be on a cover?
Maybe not Joe Rogan, but that's how like bigger, let's say not A-listers, but like B-listers. Like if you want to get on those shows, you can pay to be on those shows.
I know of shows where that
Jubilee, looking at you, yeah.
But was he popular before he started?
He was Twitch popular for a long time. He was popular in the gaming community. He was like this huge I guess he was like champion of like StarCraft? Yeah, he used to play competitive StarCraft when it was a thing.
So he had momentum to begin with, and he could have legitimately gotten on some of these shows.
Oh yeah, and I'm not saying he didn't legitimately get on them in the beginning.
Yeah,
but once he started taking money and being a sock puppet for the DNC, then that's when you got to put an asterisk by it.
Right. Well, once you start taking money to begin with, period.
Right.
Like I said, I'm just trying to get a like, who is this guy? Where is he coming? Why is he germane in the current topic day of situation? So, but yes, this fills in a lot of holes that's making some sense.
Yeah, and I mean, and the guy's a pathological personality to begin with, and we both have had experiences with pathological personality.
Right, but well, what about that? Like, why has he like lied, documented?
Essentially, the whole thing that went down with him, sort of trying to distract from the questions I was asking. I wasn't even asking them. I was just reading transcripts from Lauren Southern's ex-husband, and that was enough to really set them off.
Okay,
and I mean, using tactics that are just like, they're the tactics of personal destruction is what they are. It's not enough for you to lose your YouTube channel. They want you to go to jail for like, man. And I've watched videos of Destiny talking shit about me and saying, that he and his army of, sort of spurg autists wanted to find, they did. They want to find like dirt on me, and they can't find any.
They can't I believe 100%.
And I am who the fuck I say I am. And they couldn't find that. So what do you do when you can't find dirt on somebody?
Make it
you
up.
manufacture it.
Right.
Yes. That's exactly where they went. Let me get to some of these super chats here right quick. Hey, Rollo, when are you going to do a one-on-one stream with Drew Bay? Oh, as soon as I can, actually. I kind of want to get him in because I really want to involve him in my new program, Reignite.
I'd love to have him come to Vegas.
Yeah, sooner or later he will. There'll be a bodybuilding contest.
Oh, yeah, he'll be here. Yeah.
Yeah, I met him at the supermarket one time, and he helped me find the rice cakes. Yeah, Drew's a good dude. If you ever want to see me and Drew, we do Masculine Geek, which you used to be a part of when we played Dungeons and Dragons.
Are you still playing D&D?
Yeah, I'm still.
All right. Are you the DM?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
We have two of them. Drew actually is the DM for one, and then I'm the DM for the other one.
If you're DM, and I might be interested.
Now that you're in Vegas, you can see you're just around the corner. It's funny timing of the leaks. They come out after the election shows when you are no longer useful. They will throw into the humiliation buzzsaw. Yeah, I was going to say I think that was one of the predictions that I made also was that once November 6th rolled around, all bets are off. The table's clear. It's time to start over again. And this is part of that starting over. And I'm looking at this and I'm looking at what Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are now playing. I'm like, well, there's one.
There's
okay.
one. Yeah.
Destiny and Lauren Southern, there's two. I'm rolling in the winds right now. People, Rollo predicted this.
It's not so conspiratorial anymore.
No.
Like once you kind of see the patterns, and I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but yeah, you're right. It is curiously timed.
Yeah. I have people keep asking me, what do you think is going to be in 2025? I will tell you exactly what's going to be. We're going to lean back towards Black Pill. We're going to go back to MGTOW. That's exactly where this goes.
My territory. All
yes.
right.
By 2025, MGTOW will be back in vogue again. It was because it was in 2021. And that's when you get like MGTOW dictionary and all these Black Pill spurred kids coming after you. These guys are dating roaches, and it's like, I'll get guaranteed we'll be back to that. That'll be the next one because that's how the cycle works. Greetings, gents. Here from Cappy's audience, just saying hi to the world's most professional asshole. I've got the switch right here. Cappy, we'll get it.
It's from Die Hard.
Oh,
it's a complicated situation. And the guy's down in the hall is like, I could shut off the electricity to the building from right here. He's like, no, you don't understand. It has to be done from downtown. We got to take down the whole grid. And there's so many instances where the young guy who knows what he's doing is like, we can just do this and we'll solve it. Nope, you got to make it more complicated. So that's a Die Hard reference.
By the way, when Kamala was no longer useful, someone told her, hey, do a post-election speech while you're trying.
Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
is that real?
It's real.
Oh my
and
God.
it's pretty likely she had a couple in her.
Yeah.
It was cringe.
Here's 20, Cappy. $20 is $20.
Hey, $20 is $20.
Yes, if you want it red, it's got to be $20.
Hey.
No more, no less. Let's see, last one. On whatever, they all wondered why Andrew Wilson was skeptical of 30-something single mommies converting to Jesus Christ, and the one girl faked it all on whatever. Is MGTOW monk mode equal to the 4B nonsense? No, it's not. Is the revised RTL mail out? Oh, the revised rational mail out. No, it's not out yet. Just it will be by next year, though. Actually, first quarter of 2025. How do you like that, Aro? Thank you very much. This is my Aro ring, and that is Armando Moreno, who actually gave me this.
What is
He
made out of?
This. It is made out of electronics and stuff. It's
just like melted electronics.
No, what it is it will track your sleep. It tracks your.
Oh, it's
kind of
technology.
like wearing a Fitbit, but like only a little bit more advanced than that. And to Armando, thank you very much, Armando, for you know what?
She's not a Christian.
No, not for you. This one. There you go. Thank you for that, Armando. I much appreciate it. He sent me this. He had one of these, and I bought. This is a Oura Ring 3, and I bought a 4. And the 4 like just basically came apart in my hand. I don't know, it's
Really?
a cheap manufacturer or whatever. And I was done with it. I took it back to. I was just completely disgusted with it because Mike Sartain said, "Oh, these are great. You need to get one. They'll track your sleep schedules, tracks your your heart rate."
Can't imagine it's cheap either.
Yeah, it was about $400 for the one that I got. And then and so I got full refund from Best Buy. They were totally cool about it. If you return anything within like 15 days, they're good. And so I returned it, and then Armando, I think I put something out on Instagram or something. He goes, "Hey man, I got I have an Oura Ring 3," and I'm like, "Yeah, send it on." It happened to be the right size and everything. And I was like, "Oh fuck,
perfect."
Yeah. And then he sent me a really nice note about you're the dad I never had. Here's have this for my token of my
Do
appreciation.
you want an angry older brother you never had? Do you want to be yelled at all the time?
Yes, I'm liking it very much so, especially the sleep thing because I never get enough sleep.
Melatonin, man. You got to quit flying all over the place and going like freaking Scrat from Ice Age, running all over looking for that ache.
I do so well in the gym now. I'm like lifting more. I'm going to Powerhouse. Like the best thing I ever did was move to Vegas when it came to like my bodybuilding and everything, obviously. But like that comes with a price, and that price is my sleep. And like I didn't realize it until like the first like 3 nights that I spent with this thing, and I'm like, oh shit, I only got 4.5 hours sleep. Because like I think I'm sleeping, but it's not like REM sleep. No, and you're just like if you wake up every 2 hours, are you really sleeping? No. Yeah, and that's what I have. I have a really bad habit. Like I will sleep. Like I could go to bed early, right? I'll get up literally. If I go to bed at like 10:30, I'll wake up at 12:30. Then I'll go back and I'll wake up at 2:30.
That's just being in your 50s, man.
I'm just like, fuck, man.
You know what would help? 20-mile hikes with 3,000-foot elevation gains.
Okay.
I'll tell you, I go to sleep a lot better after a good long hike.
You might be right about that because I think maybe cardio is. I run with the dog like every day, but maybe I need to do it closer to the evening or something. I don't know. Wear yourself out.
You don't drink. Do you take melatonin or anything? Yeah. Try melatonin. I mean, it's been I wouldn't say a life changer for me, but it drastically improved my life. Giving up drinking and getting regular sleep, which I do. And I just take sleepy tea and melatonin, and dude, it's so nice being fully rested all day, 98% of the days. Yeah, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, I'm like really particular about like my pillow situation, my bed. I got a blue burrito, like California King bed, and it's just God.
What are you like a dog that has to tuck away at the thing?
I live with animals I live with animals.
Well, you got to give up on this Dinah expectation of your sleeping situation.
Well, when you get tired enough, you'll sleep anyways. But
that's why you do the 20-mile hikes.
Yeah. All right. Now that you're back,
we'll take
Anna. We'll take Anna with us. We'll take my dog Anna with us. Here's $10 in the hopes that Cappy will one day be half as handsome as Rollo. I'm surprised we haven't had like some guys from RAR Squad to show up.
They should. Yeah,
I'm sure they're on their way.
Expecting a ton of insults.
Yes, people don't even know what that is. That's our Twitter group, by the way. But yeah, I was looking at some of these. Where did I put that? Here we go. I pulled these news articles just for you, by the way. Most people in this sample prefer good-looking partners to financially successful ones. I wanted to get your opinion on this. As usual, this is more true for men than for women, but among the financially independent and powerful, we have to mention powerful, right?
Yeah.
Because financially independent implies power, right? Women prioritize looks just as much. Looks matter for over 99% of them. So if you're financially set, isn't it odd that looks happen to be of a higher priority than a guy who's financially set?
Here's the reason why is wealth is a relatively new thing. For most of human existence, it was just surviving. And you needed the baddest, most jacked MRF ever to watch over you, make sure the kids and all that. They're always going to go for low. I mean, it's hardwired. Wealth, which is nice, the provisioning aspect of having it, it's nice. It's better than being poor. That is truly secondary to what viscerally and genetically makes women attracted to you. You can't, but wasn't there I'd be curious about the math behind it, but there was a study where they calculated per inch how much you had to make in income to compensate not being
For height?
6.
Yeah,
For height.
actually.
And it was like, if you were 5, this was annual income. But I remember you were 5'5", you need to make like $350,000 a year.
Yeah, I have
I mean, she's still going to be going after, she's not going to be attracted to you. It's just compensating her for not being attracted to her. But this is obvious. It's 100% true.
Yeah, it's the offset there.
No.
Yeah. Let's see.
I mean, we don't need it down to the decimal point, but this doesn't shock me.
It was this. Yeah, hold on, it's in sexual economics here. Yeah, it's basically like if you make a certain amount of, or if you're a certain height, you need to make X amount of dollars to compensate for that lack of height.
Right. And I think they made the ideal. The baseline was a guy who was 6'2". So if you're 6'2", it was 0 added money, and then as you went down, the number income went up.
Okay. Yeah.
But there's plenty of. I mean, go look at it. Whether it's a specific study designed to measure that, or a study that you can glean the ancillary data off of it. Yeah, the girl is always. Well, I mean, how many? Okay, you got look at the one when you had the blonde bimbo. With the sugar daddy, and she was jumping up and down. You think some strapping 28-year-old jack dude couldn't just you think she's not? Yeah, you don't think she's banging it? Yeah, of course she is. The money. I mean, that guy was a good-looking older man. Don't get me wrong. He was probably the king in his day, but she wasn't having him. Oh, honey, let's just go get a coffee because I love being with you. It was like, no, my time is valuable. Buy me the freaking purse that could feed a African nation for 3 years.
Wait, I have it right here. Let me grab this.
You have these all like in a
data
file?
They're in my Twitter here.
Oh, okay.
Rob Henry. Yeah, it was Rob Henry. A man who's 5'6" tall needs to earn an additional $175,000 per year to be as desirable. Yes, to be as desirable as a man who is about 6 feet tall. 6'2". You were right. A 6'2" man can earn $30,000 less than a 6 foot man and will be viewed as equally desirable. And I love this because I always throw this at these guys who say, well, you know what? It all comes out in the wash and it's all assortative mating and everybody who's higher than tall, they all end up, coming down to it being about equal. It's like, no, they don't. And the other thing is like, it's not who you get with. It's who you want to be fucking getting with. That's what it comes down to.
You know what I like about
especially now,
almost approaching 50, is you ever see those bell distribution memes where it's the Autisberg on one side. Oh no, it's the dope. It's the moron on the left side of the bell distribution. Then it's the autist like freaking out, and then it's the Jedi Master where the idiot says the obvious thing. The guy in the square in the center IQ says, no, it's more complicated than that. And then on the other side, it's the Jedi Master, and he says it's the thing that the idiot said.
Yeah.
It's one of these, as I get older, it is so simple. We don't need a study. It's not overcomplicated. There are so many truisms that are obvious, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
Girls are going to go after the hot guy. Money is a distant second. So be hot or go home.
Yeah. Be hot or go home. You heard it here.
Seriously, be hot or go home.
Yep. Where did I think I have that actually. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. This is the one you were talking about. This is actually
they do
one
a
of my,
lot of memes like
this is one of my favorites actually. I've used this actually in a couple of my books.
These are all in your Twitter?
Yeah. So yeah, they are. I have all of these. My son, to win in combat, you must let go of your conscious self. And this is why, Master. This is because motor memories are stored as implicit memories, not declarative memories. Trying to use your conscious brain for motor tasks is basically accessing the wrong database. He's like, can you rephrase that in mystical wisdom? He's like, dwell in your inner inness. Thank you, Wise Master.
Yeah.
But see, that's what people need, man. They need to have that. They need to have it dressed up in like fortune cookie shit. It's the same thing. You're still getting the message. You're still learning the shit, right? But people who just don't want to, like, they want to. I keep saying this: is women don't want to be told that they're playing a game. They want to play the game, right? They want a guy who knows how to play the game. They want a guy who's a superior player. I know we're playing this game. It's like going to the Renaissance fair and they're talking to you in Elizabethan English and you talk back to them in, Shakespearean iambic pentameter, and it's this back and forth thing. And you don't break character. Right. Because that's the enjoyable part of the whole thing. You're just buying a fucking ale or a turkey leg or some shit like, that's
lady. 3 pence
have
and
an ale
dust
from
chili.
your fine wench. Yeah, that kind of like you're not breaking that character, and so you're having that, but it's fun and it's interesting, and you're basically, hey, give me a turkey leg, all right. Like, okay, but the thing is like you're doing the same thing. It's just like you're just getting it in a different formula, right? And but a lot of guys don't have the patience for that. That they would rather tell you it's motor memory and not declarative memory, and this is how you ought to do it, and this is why this shit doesn't work. Well, you take the magic out of it, and I think that's the difference between like an emotional language and sort of empirical language. And I keep saying, the reason why people have such a hard time with what you say, and the reason why you and I are on a fucking DHS watch list right now, is because we use the language of empiricism, right? And the language of empiricism is always going to sound like hate to the language of emotionalism.
Nobody likes fat chicks.
Nobody likes fat chicks.
I don't.
That is empirically
that's
true.
Empirically true. I mean, they don't hate them necessarily. Sexually, men don't like fat
They are
chicks.
not aroused. They do not pass the boner test.
If that's going to land me in
black
jail,
and white,
then,
right there.
Right.
Yes.
If that lands me in jail, then I will be in history.
Yeah,
I will. And,
yeah.
And it'll be to the benefit of future generations.
Yeah, so fortunately, Trump got in office, and you don't have to worry about it for at least 4 years.
I did send a letter. I sent a letter to my governor, turned Department of Homeland Security head, Kristi Noem, explicitly but succinctly explaining all that. And maybe she hears it. Maybe
Did you catch up on it? Are you like up on the diverting hate and the NGO and the DHS?
No, I thought they kind of didn't. They go away or they take it down.
Well,
I mean, I know the
have you
academic.
Did you notice any? Well, probably on your YouTube channel you did, but did you notice any like fall off on viewership or fall off on subs or fall off on your book sales and stuff like that as a result of being put on the diverting hate
not really
list?
I'd have to find out when that came out.
A year ago
in November. No, I was doing good, I think, because I released a book and I was on fire. And I could track my traffic rather well, depending. It basically boils down to, am I dealing with somebody else's bullshit? Is like, am I away at a funeral? Am I not home? And that's where, but if I'm back, it's usually 1 for 1. But I did not notice a drop. No.
Yeah, I was not as aware of it as I was up until like March of this year.
Okay.
And that's when the biannual report came. I don't know if there should be another one that came out in November.
I thought they ended the whole thing. They buried the first one.
I think they're probably going to, if not, because the first thing out of Trump's mouth was, we're going to end funding for all of these NGOs that are limiting and censoring free speech. And I would hope that that's going to go to the McCain Institute at ASU, who is receiving my taxpayer dollars to essentially, choke my traffic on YouTube and Twitter. Elon Musk, who was also complicit in all of this shit. Of course, that might have been before he actually bought him out, but but the program was already instated at that point, and I don't know if he was even aware of it.
This is what's going to have to happen. You and me and other people that were on that list, we're just going to have to start naming names and delving into these. That will identify these people, and it'll make them think twice about it, and it'll also expose them, and by association, academia, for the fraudulent stuff that it is. The thing is, I'm too damn busy to go after these freaking academic.
I try to make mention of it on my show as best I can, but it's like I wouldn't know where to start. I've had some people say like, "Hey, go talk to what's his name." Crane, Elijah Crane, was a congressman in Arizona, I think in the district where ASU is, right, with Scottsdale, right? And he was talking about exactly these NGOs that are doing exactly what was happening to you and me and MTR and
score of other people,
Rich Cooper, but not just, he wasn't mentioning us by name, like that particular NGO, but I didn't realize there are other ones that are doing exactly the same thing, using the exact same technology and the exact same techniques.
You need to
repress.
go and get their names.
Yeah.
Like there's a Dasha something or other.
At the Pearl.
He's where I'd start because
Peril
because
Institute.
his methodology was so laughably unprofessional and stupid that if you just read his results and his methodology, you'd be like, and we get his face and we get his name, so that when the first thing that someone searches is not his webpage but a YouTube video we've done about him or any of these people, that would be using our own platforms to defend ourselves. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I think they're ineffectual. I mean, it still doesn't mean that they're evil, coming after us, trying to violate our freedom of speech or throttle our traffic or whatever it is. I'm more offended probably that they're stealing the taxpayers' money. These are basically frauds.
Yeah.
Trying to get some kind of funding for some kind of BS.
The male supremacy
index
or something
male
like that.
supremacy
Yeah,
scale.
all you had to do is say certain buzzwords or keywords that would trigger that, and if you said them enough time, then your rating that's why I'm higher than you. I would. Well, I'm at number 4. Sandman or whatever is number 1. I'm like, how the fuck did you get number 1?
Here's the other thing you could tell is
that's a ripoff.
You could tell it was very lazy, academically, intellectually dishonest work. Where was Joker? Where were a bunch of other larger really? He was missing some big ones.
I am of the opinion that it was most likely because of financial interests. They were more worried about the people who are making money off of this.
Yeah.
Because they stopped going after Fresh and Fit and Pearl because they got demonetized. They were demonetized.
Right.
So
but Joker's still monetized as far as I know.
Yeah. And I'll tell you here, this is what really woke me up to this is I have 3 channels. Okay. I have this channel with Rational Male. I have my Clips channel. And then I have Access Vegas. Access Vegas had only been around for a year and 3 months. And they demonetized the channel, and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? I've made all of $300 that's a good month for us, right? Because it was a brand new channel. We didn't start the channel to make a shit ton of money. We just want people to be able to super chat and everything else, and so we can run the show, right? And they demonetized it, and I'm like, what? And they demonetized Mike Sartain too.
Mike?
His channel, Mike Sartain Podcast, got demonetized, and he had 170,000 followers, subs or something like that. Yeah, he was very proud of himself, and then all of a sudden they just basically killed his. Now Mike doesn't care because it's just outreach for Mike. Mike doesn't make his money off of YouTube. He makes it off of MOA. Right. So it's not going to hurt him financially, and losing Access Vegas monetarily, I don't care. But I'm just like, but why? Right? Why would that get demonetized and not this channel and not the Clips channel and not some other more egregious channels that I know of? Right? Why not Joker? Why not?
Well, that's lazy research on their part.
Yeah, they're just going after and it's because we're on a list. It's because we're on a watch list. And like I said, the show we hadn't even been a year old. I think we were pushing 7,500 subs. We weren't even over the 10,000
and you guys were very
mark.
Polite and
we're very cool with the girls and everything.
Yeah,
they just didn't want to see it get off the ground. They just didn't want to see it get any kind of momentum. And I'm just like, well, why is that? Well, it's because of the male supremacy scale, a YouTube case study, together with the Polarization and Extremism Research and Innovation Lab.
Isn't it cute how they come up with those acronyms?
Peril. How can we make peril fit into an acronym here? Yes. It's like you make the acronym and then you try to fit the words to the acronym. At American University, we conducted a case study to investigate the viability of executing effective diversion campaigns aimed at a range of male supremacist YouTube influencers who are prominent within the manosphere. Bravo. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right.
Yes, we finally made it.
We achieved. We can retire now.
We don't have the plaque on the wall from YouTube, but we did get on
got some sand in their hoo-ha. Our job is done here.
The male supremacy scale. The male supremacy scale was developed by Pasha Dashgard, the director of research at Peril, as a tool to understand, define, and quantify. Jesus, man. clearly not an author, the phenomenon of contemporary male supremacy, specifically in the context of online platforms. Employing a mixed methods research design, a very mixed method, Dashguard collected and synthesized, pulled it out of his ass.
Pulled it out of his ass.
And various resources, including online ethnographic research, a key informant interview. Who is your key? Who is Deep Throat? And a scale designed to measure contemporary male supremacy. Oh, well, that sounds like we should base the entire NGO on this. What a genius.
Thank God they know what male supremacy is. I'm glad they define it.
Yeah. No one else did.
No one else.
The result was a reliable and valid instrument for assessing contemporary male supremacy, known as the Male Supremacy Scale. Okay, MSS. The Male Supremacy Scale is a 15-item scale to measure male supremacy broken into 3 subscales. Here they are: anti-feminism, female dishonesty in relationships, and women like alphas, quote unquote.
What? I'm trying to figure how does this have anything to do? Like
those
right
are what got us on the
but
scale.
how is that supremacy? No, not one of those says men are better than women.
I know.
Not one of them says that.
I know.
What are they again now?
Okay, here we go. Anti-feminism.
Okay, that doesn't mean one could argue you're for women because you would argue feminism has been bad for women. So that's not supremacy. All right, go on.
Next one. Female dishonesty in relationships.
So we should accept that?
They're never dishonest?
They're never
We're not allowed. They're above reproach. We're not allowed
if
to.
I don't trust with the 50% divorce rate, if I don't trust women implicitly, I now believe men are better than women.
Right.
I mean, this $750,000 of people's tax money went to this.
Exactly. Yeah, just under $1 million.
All right, what's the third one?
And the
now?
last one is women, quote unquote, women like alphas.
What?
So if you put women like, those are the
like
keywords. That's what we're just talking about. Women like alphas.
Oh.
Okay. With 5 items each. So there's 5 items under each of those 3. Okay. Anti-feminism. Here's the explanations. Anti-feminism explores how the participants feel about feminism and feminists in general. And more specifically, the role feminism has played in society.
Notice he doesn't say women. You know, he immediately goes to the socialist viral variant of.
If you can't criticize feminism without getting on this list,
right?
You can't say anything bad about feminism. You can't say, hey, you know what? I think feminism has probably been a net negative for society since it started. If I say that, now I'm on the list.
Right.
Shit, I can't even say it on this program. Right?
You know what? It'd be a pretty darn good for a First Amendment lawsuit.
That's what I kept thinking too. This is a civil suit. This is a civil rights suit. Is what this is.
What are the 5? So
that was that one. Okay, so we can't say that, right? These are the things you're not allowed to say. Specific films. Okay, female dishonesty in relationships highlights the view that women are not able to be faithful in a relationship and are by nature dishonest.
I don't think you or me or anyone else have said that is women's default setting.
Yeah.
Is that one? Is there 5 categories?
They're just trying to define those 3 categories, and then there's like 5 subcategories. There's like 5 subs underneath each one. Okay, so but the thing is this is like, so I'm not allowed. Like, women are above reproach, right? I can't be critical about that without scoring high on the male supremacy scale. To actually have an objective, critical, empirical opinion of something, or even not even that, an observation of it.
Right.
If I, like, for instance, when I put my videos out in the beginning of the show, right? Does that flag me for the peril scale because I actually put these on there as examples of? In some cases, they're funny. They're just like, they're laughable examples. But like, for instance, the chick with the sugar daddy, right? If anything, that's a warning. I'm not trying to say women are bad. I'm just saying, hey, guys, this is possible. Don't lead with your wallet. Don't be this guy. Don't be a schmuck. Don't be a simp. Don't be a, if anything, that's not, I mean, if this is what you're going to deal with, and that's what you're going to deal with. And I keep, this is the standard byline for the red pills. The red pill doesn't exist so men will hate women. It exists so men won't hate women for what they can never be to them.
Right.
And so like people have a really tough time understanding that. But if all you are is like, if everything is all about just ideological purity, that's what this is. It's an ideological litmus test is what it is if you have anything bad to say about these three topics or these three categories right here, or if you have ever said anything about them in the past, then you are now on this blacklist, and we're going to redirect your traffic, which is exactly what they've been doing.
I'll one up you on that. Forget what you say. What if I'm a number data guy. What if I go pull a bunch of numbers and data and show a chart? And the chart, which is empirically derived, let's assume that the data wasn't massaged and it came from an unbiased. Is that big? Is reality bigotry or supremacy?
Yeah,
I mean that I hope people realize how bad and what a threat these people are to free speech and free thought.
Yeah.
I hope people realize that.
Well, one of the things that, and I agree with Mike, and I'm glad he kind of went off on this in the last Access Vegas, is they don't exist unless censorship exists. They cannot exist. Their message cannot exist unless there's repression of free speech. They can, unless there is censorship, like systemic censorship, which is exactly what we're looking at right here. Like everything that like we're on this list for right now means that if you say these things, what's the overall the take home message is women are above reproach. You cannot say anything whatsoever. And I'll tell you what's funny is I remember when Andrew Tate, when he first went on Piers Morgan, and he was talking about he's talking about women, he's talking about women's nature, men's nature, and stuff like that, and Pierce goes, well, you sound like a misogynist. And so Andrew, in his infinite wisdom, was like, well, what's a misogynist? What is misogyny? And he says, anything that's against women. And I'm like, so you can't say anything that is empirically true about women that might be unflattering to female nature. You can't say that and not be a misogynist.
Right. I'll even
that is like social engineering.
Here's the thing that infuriates me, but I try to let it go because I'm not the one that ultimately suffers this. But what I have found in my blunt asshole consulting world is that you cannot improve people without constructive criticism, because people aren't right all the time. They make mistakes. You need to, in a fatherly, loving way, constructively criticize people. This is what you do with your children. And anytime you try to correct women, which might be in their best interest, for example, me telling with my book Worthless, essentially telling young people, women included, not to major in dumb stuff, that is helpful to them. You need to lose weight. Like fat chicks, you need to lose weight. If you're fat, you're going to die. It's in your best interest. I guarantee you these people would call that misogynistic.
Yes. But if you tried to tell them and say, hey, you should stop smoking, bravo.
Right.
You should get off of heroin. Bravo.
Right.
You should lose weight. How dare you?
Right. And so now, even what's in the best interest of women, which would be either financial or health, and this is going to be the most misogynist thing I ever said.
Uh-oh. Shh.
I think women are happiest with men. I mean, I'm sorry I nuked your channel, Rollo. But after a while, it just gets exasperating.
Yeah.
So what's the third?
Okay, so this is the last. Before I do that, there we go. Okay. Where did it go? Oh, okay. So Women Like Alphas is based on hypergamy. Yes, that essentially every psychologist from Jordan Peterson down to Gad Saad to
Animal Kingdom
to Dr. David Buss, everybody drink. Has pretty much has one take or another about and the values that men of the manosphere project onto women, and determines if the participant feels that women are only interested in high status masculine men. That's pretty much every video on TikTok, okay? Utilizing a 7-point Likert scale, ranging from strongly this is the 7 point, strongly disagree to strongly agree. The highest ranking on the male supremacy scale is 105.
That's the highest we can get.
That's the highest you can get.
I want to know how did they listen?
Would you like to know your score?
I was ranked pretty low.
I have it.
What I want to here's what I want to know. Did he listen? How many hours to each channel did these people listen to? And then they get to decide on a scale 1 to 7 agreeableness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you understand why this guy is an academic hack and a joke? Like, this is the most ridiculous. And I'd love to see, like, okay, you show me where I could see in your computer logs that you were listening to this podcast. You consume 10 hours of each of these people's podcasts. That's what I want to know.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Top of the scale.
Top of the scale.
Top of the scale. Sandman at 93 on the Likert.
Sandman,
Out of 105. Out of 105.
What was his score again?
93.
93.
Okay. And we have next, second place, which blows me away of all people, The Real MTR, which is Mediocre Tutorial Reviews, who has
Never
been
heard of him.
highly critical of me, Fresh and Fit, and anything Manosphere.
So there's
or Red
no
Pill.
veracity to the results.
Yeah.
Like, this guy just
Pulls
chat
this
it
out of
all
his
out.
ass.
All right.
I don't know who Legion of Men is, but
he
it's
is a
Legion of Men.
he's a Czech citizen now,
Mhm.
former American, and he just does, hey guys, leave the US. He's kind of like Passport Bro world.
Mhm.
And like, there's more traditional girls in Eastern Europe or overseas. That's kind of his thing.
Sandman had 200 at the time. Well, as of March 2024, he had 206,000 subs.
Wow.
He went from November 2023. He had 2003. So they basically choked his traffic down to 1.4% growth.
Okay.
That's how because if they are going at present rate of increase, that's why he's at the top of the list. They choked him back. And then, so Legion of Men, 91 on the Likert scale. He was at 427,000 in November, and then was at 453,000, which was a 6.09% increase. They choked him to 6% growth. Then the Rational Male.
Are you fourth?
I'm fourth.
Fourth place.
89 on the Likert scale.
Boy, you're so
I
better
know.
than me.
I almost feel bad
I
about
might
it.
feel bad.
I lost out to
How far
MTR.
down am I
know.
like, how many places down am I? Good Lord. All right.
You are, where are you? You are at, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, geez.
8. No, you're at the 9th.
9th?
You're 9th. Yes. I know. And if you're like, and coming up for the consolation prize is Aaron Clarey.
Boy,
you are at, okay. Well, so in order of importance, and then Fresh and Fit Clips, because they went to Clips because that was still monetized at the time.
All right.
88. Rich Cooper's channels, all of his channels, 88, and he was at 975,000. And then that's in November of 2023. And then in March of 2024, he was at 1,010,800. They choked him down to 3.67% growth. That's how much they throttled him.
Let me point something out. They all grew. Like they
still did.
Yeah. In other words, I know it upsets you, and you think I actually don't think they've been effective at all. But having said that, it's got to piss them off that these channels are still there. They're still growing. I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, these academics are trying to fight the male sex drive. They're just going to lose.
Well, your Likert scale is 75.
75
out of 105. Oof. They held you to 9.09%.
Yeah. That's about 9% growth. I've been flat ever since. I've been at like 127,000. By the way, everyone subscribe to my channel. I'll be a bitch about that.
Okay, so when I looked at the profiles, because they had to like give you a profile to let you know who you're all about, right? So all of these, tell me if this doesn't sound like they picked this up off of like
AI or something. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The Rational Male Supremacy Scale metric of 89. Rollo Tomasi, known as the Rational Male, is a white man in his 50s who resides in Nevada with his wife. His content primarily features him seated and discussing various topics related to the manosphere. A prominent advocate of the red pill ideology, Tomasi distinguishes himself by opposing tradcon influencers and extensively delving into the concept of hypergamy. Well, that's what fucked me, right? Tomasi's videos often critique and scrutinize figures within the same community. Notable instances include criticisms of individuals like Jordan Peterson and Matt Walsh. Apart from his online, they must have done that because that's what I was.
That was what you were talking about at
in
that
November.
moment in time.
That's what I was talking about. Back
it was
then.
AI.
Yes, you are correct. His first blog began in 2011, and he released his first book in 2013. His content, which is heavily emphasizes red pill ideology and hypergamy, has garnered significant popularity. No, it's the Bible of the fucking manosphere. Despite his high standing in these aspects, his channel score is tempered by a lower ranking in female dishonesty. Well, good. At least I haven't said, ladies, you can trust me because I trust you. Due to a perceived lack of discussion on this particular subject. Who the fuck writes this? In terms of subscribers, Rollo Tomassi has experienced modest growth on his channel. In November 2023, he had 2018. Okay, so then they just go through.
This sounds like if I had to write a book report.
Yes.
About
this consistently following suggests sustained interest in his expertise on red pill philosophy and intersexual dynamics, which is they're just basically pulling my terms and then repurposing them. Okay, this is you. This is so good.
Give me my fourth grade book report.
Like they just give you this passing blurb here. Aaron Clarey, male supremacy scale, metric of 75. Aaron Clarey, a white man in his 40s, is known for his content that spans diverse interests, including salsa dancing and economics.
I don't talk about salsa dancing.
How is that? That's what got you. It was the salsa dancing that got you on there.
I don't talk about salsa dancing. I don't talk about it. I don't know if there's a video. Okay, go on. So they told the AI
you were an
bot,
instructor, weren't you?
Oh my
It's
God!
like that. Remember, it's that scene in the Matrix when the agent brings in Neo for the first time. It's like, how are you going to make a phone call if you can't talk?
I admit, I'm going to come out. I did put my hand on a woman's hip one time when I was leading her, and I don't know how I was going to dance though.
However, a significant aspect of his content is characterized by his misogynistic views and a belief in the societal benefits of the patriarchy.
What? Show me the benefits of the patriarchy. Honest to God.
Okay.
Oh, this
the
is
benefits
horseshit.
of the patriarchy. Well, why would that? That's not on any of those.
It's not on
peril. It's not on the peril list, right? Why would that matter? Clarey engages with his audience through live streams where he addresses topics requested by subscribers ranging from news articles to questions while advocating for traditional gender roles with supporting economic statistics.
No, not facts.
In scare quotes.
Oh, did it put
in scare quotes?
Okay,
economics.
yeah. I guess you got to take it up with the Department of Labor.
Dun, dun, dun.
God.
While scoring high in various aspects, his overall rating is impacted by a lower score in female dishonesty. Well, maybe that's why we got on. We just do not believe in the inherent dishonesty of women.
So the next year, I got to do a lot of videos about I don't trust no woman.
Don't trust anyone.
Never trust a woman. Never trust a woman.
That'll go good with the MGTOW thing that's coming up.
Yeah, I'll prepare for that.
Yes. Okay. While scoring low, overall rating is impacted by a lower score on female dishonesty, attributed to a perceived lack of emphasis on this subject within his content. That is like baffle garble. That is not. That's like that is Chat GPT speak.
I love how he tries to put numbers to this. That's why I get a kick out of. Like, look, man, if you're going to take something as amorphous and ill-researched as this, and you're going to put actual numbers to it.
They just got ChatGPT say, give me a brief profile of Aaron Clarey.
I know. And he's criticizing me for my economic statistics. And it's like, dude, wipe your shit off these numbers since it came from your ass. At least do me that favor.
Regardless, Aaron Clarey has experienced growth in his following. Regardless of all your patriarchy and your economic statistics. In November 2023, he had 110,000 subscribers. And by March 2024, his subscriber count had increased to 120,000. This indicates sustained interest in his content, even as he discusses controversial topics related to gender roles and societal structures.
Let me ask
How
you,
dare you talk about gender roles and societal structures?
We had to remember the guy's name. You had to look it up. How much of these people, like, they're just going to die nobodies?
Yeah.
Like they think they're going to save the world and they're going to fight the system and they're going to get government money to do it and they get to avoid real jobs. At the end of the day, like, what are they going to, like, they're this guy's 80 years old and all the people are 80 years and they're on their deathbed. I think we got those wascally red pill
At least
fellas.
we got them off the internet.
We sort of maybe slowed down their traffic growth. It's just like, wow, sucks to be you, man.
Yeah,
it really does.
What's going to happen now? Is society going to? Are women going to stop doing all this stuff? Are men going to stop doing all this stuff? See, that's the thing that got me is like I'm at the point right now where it's not about like the platform so much as it is about the message, right? Because even if you took away if I got demonetized tomorrow, God forbid, please don't. But even if I did, it's not going to be that big a financial hit that I'm going to go, you know what? I think I'm going to go back to graphic design. I think I'm just going to go back to what I was. Fuck it. I just can't make a living at this anymore. I give up. You win. White flag.
Yeah.
Like that. Is that what you think I'm going to do? And even if I did that, even if you took away me and you and Fresh and Fit and Rich Cooper and Ryan Stone and you took away all of the prominent figures in the manosphere today and they all just disappeared tomorrow, you know what? People would still be interested in these topics and they would still be talking about this shit.
I'll say it again. You know what they're fighting against? The male sex drive. As long as men want to have sex with women, this is not going away. Okay. As long as men want to have sex with women and women continue to not want to be traditional, which is their choice, by the way. I'm not even judging it. But as long as women, I guess in general, keep rebuking traditionalism, no, we don't want to have it, or playing mind games, like, well, we're going to do this. As long as that happens and men are confused about women, let's put it that way,
right,
about how to get women to have sex with them or have relationships with it. As long as there's confusion, there will be a call for this. There will be someone who takes our place. And here's the other thing. Kind of if you strike me down now, I'll become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. Do you know how many things I don't say? Not because they're misogynist or whatever else, but because they are such nuclear bomb truths. Like, okay, I'm not paid anymore. Now I can really open up and really start calling out people's names and things like that. So they may want to consider, well, okay, these guys have something to live for. But if we take that away, well, yeah, but there is, like, if I were to lose this or whatever else, like, yeah, thankfully I saved my money. There's other platforms. I guess I go to Twitter.
I can still write books. I can still
write
do
books.
Yeah, you're not going to stop. The red pill is an idea whose time has come, and there's no way you're going to put the fucking toothpaste back in the tube. You're not going to put the genie doesn't go back in the jar.
No.
Okay.
No.
And so the thing that gets me, I'll tell you that just to sort of finish off the diverting hate narrative here, the thing that gets me is they're actually, they do this two ways. One is they, through algorithm software, colluding with YouTube and Twitter, we're basically blacklisted. We're basically shadow banned, but we're like worse than shadow banned, right? I have people right now who are telling me, like, I'm putting out a few tweets and they're going, man, this is the first tweet I've seen you post in a long time. I'm like, I've been tweeting for fucking ages. It's because I'm now off of the thing. Because honestly, I think probably around, I'll probably know by the end of December, but like, I think that the program was instigated for a year. And I think that once they were past the year, then the funding goes away and nobody's getting paid. If there is no boogeyman, nobody gets paid. And so now that the election is lost and everything else, everybody's priorities have changed. Donald Trump is saying, we're going to come after you with both barrels, and for all this bullshit. And I'm hoping that that's also going to count towards the McCain Institute at ASU, at ASU, at Diverting Hate, at Middlebury, and all these sons of bitches who have been playing games with this fucking research and getting incels designated as domestic terrorists for the last year. And you know who I'm talking about, Will Costello. You sons of bitches are, if you're not complicit in it, you were compliant in it for sure. Okay. If you were not implicit, you were complicit in it. And I will tell you right now, the fact that what happens is then they say, okay, well, incels are potentially radicalized terrorists and they could go and kill women and blah, blah, because it has no factual basis in fucking in reality whatsoever. But then they go and we and as a result, you and I end up on this list because we're radicalizing these poor kids and taking their money, like, filching money right out of their fucking wallets and their back pockets, because they're too influenceable and they're just, you guys are morons. And just this morning, by the way, I saw another, I forget who was doing it, but there was another study where they're paying participants again to answer questions about being an incel, and now everybody's onto your bullshit. And the first thing out of my mouth was, do not take this fucking bait. And if you do take the bait, make sure you do it multiple times and fuck up their research,
Right?
Because they only want to put you on a terrorist watch list.
They will massage the figures
Yes.
to come out with. It doesn't matter how.
Yeah, and then also go and look at who is doing the funding for that quote unquote research.
Mhm.
Yeah, go and look at that. Like, do the background for that. Find out where their money is coming from. Is it coming from the U.S. government? Is it coming from the DHS? Decline. In fact, I don't know anybody who would be a self-identifying incel who would ever take anything like that. I don't care how much. Well, $100. Okay.
We don't have to worry about this because at the end of the day, we'll be dead, and we're gonna have a nice track record enshrined in books or videos or whatever else. They say, "Oh
I'm
shit,
getting a
they're right."
statue. I don't know about you.
I always think about just to piss off the right people. Do you know how easy it would be able to raise the funding to get a statue of Kevin Samuels?
Oh God, that would be
Do you know how easy it would be to do? We just got to figure out where to put it.
Yeah,
and then make it like almost indestructible.
Does he have a gravesite?
I wouldn't want to desecrate or
Oklahoma?
even let people know where it was. You know, like.
But he was buried though, right?
I think so, or at least
Well, then you could.
somewhere.
I was going to say then you could put it there.
No, but then you have feminists coming in and messing with the grave. I'm thinking something made of titanium and something that could not be moved, and just you have it like across from the women's studies department at Maryland University or something like that. Yeah, something
Sarah
like that.
Lawrence,
right? Something like that, or put it in Portland or so. I don't know,
shit.
but my point is. What gives this movement, for lack of a better word, intrinsic and everlasting value is, again, they are fighting human genetics. It's the same thing I argue in economics. Like, you can argue all you want against capitalism. It's human nature. You either build your economic system based off of that or not. And if you don't want to because you think, you're going to try socialism or a non-capitalist system the 48th time, fine, go ahead. You guys are going to fail. But it's almost, we've said our piece. We rediscovered all this wisdom. Men are interested in women. I'm terribly sorry. Women have obfuscated, sometimes outright lied, or been coy about what they wanted. And and I would say to counter, do you know how many people we've probably prevented from shootings or violence because we've given them the explanation and now they're not confused anymore? I said, and I don't know if you watched the video I did where I did a response. If the Department of Homeland Security really worried about this incel threat, they'd hire us.
Yeah.
They'd say, like, we need you in here to explain what's going on with the psychology. Can you do commercials about like, hey, don't do this, there's that? And we would 100% because violence is not an answer. But it's politically motivated. Anyway, I wouldn't. At the end of the day, these people are going to be nobodies. They've already failed. We're ensconced in economic genetic reality. It's not like necessarily a bold take.
I look at guys like Scott Galloway right now. I don't know if you're familiar with Scott. Scott Galloway he's an economist, right, or supposedly our business guy. Who has, and not in any ways a sociologist or a psychologist, but he's got a lot to say about like masculinity, and he really wanted Kamala to get in the office. And the guy's very dyed in the wool kind of leftist guy, but he's popular because he talks shit about the manosphere. He talks shit about but the thing is like, you look at these guys, you look at guys like Scott Galloway or Dr. Richard Reeves, it's gotten to the point where men's issues are so unignorable that even the fucking Brookings Institute has to like take heed and has to have people sort of address the things that are going on, because they can't deny that male suicide is at 4 times the amount of
even higher than that. Maybe
well, after a divorce it goes up 8 times, right? So even that they can't or the complete lack of men in education right now, right? And they can't deny those things don't exist. But the problem is their solutions are so fucked up and they're rooted in this blank slate, egalitarian, equalist bullshit. And as I was saying, like, to tag something onto your point there, is until they get to the point where They are ready to accept human nature and evolved,
By those
evolutionary
rules,
psychology
yeah.
when they start evolutionary biology, psychology, anthropology. So we have this wealth of knowledge right now, courtesy of the internet, courtesy of our mass global communication right now. We like the only reason you and I can exist. I'm not an expert in any of this stuff. I'm kind of good at a lot of this stuff.
You can piece the
But
note,
if you think about all the things that I talk about and that on shows or like I write about or on Substack or whatever, I have to know evolutionary psychology, evolutionary biology, sociology, anthropology, history, a little bit of political science, neurology or how your brain works, endocrinology, anthropology, whatever, all these ologies and stuff like that. And am I a fucking brain surgeon? No. And I don't even play one on the internet. But people are like, if I want to point out a recent article about how men and women's brains are so architecturally different that it's almost as if they're different. They're almost as different animals, right? And if I go and I point that out, then I'm a misogynist because suddenly I'm pointing out the biological, empirical reality that my brain is wired differently than my wife's brain. Okay. And that, hey, you know what? When you put those two together, they make a pretty good complement, right? Oh, how dare you? That's patriarchal. No, it's not. It's fucking evolutionary biology and psychology and a little bit of neurology, right? Throw that out there, put it out there, say, you know what? Talk about this. Let's have a discussion about this. They don't want to have a discussion about it. And the reason why they don't is because it goes against their blank slate bullshit, because it only works if because of the blank slate, social constructionism, emotionalism, and egalitarianism. Those are the four the legs of the stool. If you take out one of those, the whole fucking thing crashes down.
I'll simplify it. They're putting their ideology, whether it's a religion or an academic study or whatever, they're putting that first and reality second.
Yeah.
They are not going to ever give up that reality because a lot of times that's all they got. That really is. And I don't care. I'm thankful I don't have children. It's going to figure it out. But where this is going to come to a head. Did you ever read A World Without Men?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it's going to come to a head. And it's already happening. And it's fascinating to me. Watch, Galloway is the guy and all these people. Oh my God. Did you know there's this other half of the population apparently called men? And I guess we got to factor them in. And it's only a tacit acknowledgement of like, okay, things are getting pretty bad. And I've already written and said, look, the paradox we're facing right now, and this is the conversation society's going to have in the West anyway, is men are driven by women. They're motivated and driven by sex with women and inevitably forming relationships with them to have children, the children that come with that. Women today, and we could argue whether it's always been this way and they've just recently been liberated with technology and feminism, or they've been brainwashed or hoodwinked, it doesn't matter. Women today generally don't want to have anything to do with men. Generally. I know there's exceptions, and if you're a higher quality guy. The problem is, until you acknowledge reality and the needs and interests of men, you're not going to have society. We build pretty much everything that is critical and vital to this economy. I mean, that road over there, all the buildings, electricity, it's mostly us. However, this puts women in and that's one that I'm sympathetic towards. And I'm like, God, yeah, it kind of sucks. You didn't ask. For example, did women ever ask for men to be this attracted to them? They don't. That's just how it is. I can understand women getting annoyed by men constantly asking them out. Unfortunately, that's the fuel and what men want most, which puts women in the unrequested position of basically being the fuel for economic growth. And we got to come to a solution. I don't know what the solution is. I would say, if I had to, I'd say traditionalism, because I don't know. It worked for 200,000 years. But until we get to these hard conversations, like, hey, what role are women going to play in society? All right, you've removed women from men's motivation. Like, men just don't get married anymore, and we can divorce you or whatever. It's now taken off the table. What are you going to do to motivate men? And that's the question as everyone has to answer right now, we as a society, because they're not motivated. And you see them fumble and flail. So I call it the Scooby-Doo mystery, where take any mainstream media article, CNN, ABC. Oh my God, men's labor force participation rate is going down. What are we going to do? And they get some dope, some hack, perhaps Galloway, if he's an economist.
Most definitely.
Right. And, they just don't got enough education. And I'm yelling in the background, there's too many fat chicks. It's just this simple freaking thing. And like, I don't know, how about being nice? But that encumbers and puts a responsibility upon women who, as individuals, pretty much for most of my, they're not that interested in that.
Mhm.
And so I don't know where the answer is, but you are going to have to find new motivations. If it's not going to be women, it's not going to be sex, not going to be children. You're
What
going to have
is
to, what is it? And right now they're just, government aid, here's some video games, got woke trash all over it. What do you want? Oh, you want women with big boobs? What are you, a misogynist? You're on the male supremacy index. How dare you? And
This is a pretty good one. Let me throw this on here real quick.
Seen the data showing the movement of teenage boys.
Not understand human development away from our children. Yeah, again, going back to the blank slate and going back to biological realities and stuff. It's like we were just talking about a minute ago, like the more quote unquote independent and powerful women who have more money and more education and everything else. What do they tend to prefer? Guys who are jacked.
Yeah.
Guys who are more good looking. Why? Because it's about alpha fucks and beta bucks. And if the beta bucks is already satisfied by being a powerful, independent, affluent woman, what's left?
What?
Alpha fucks.
And
That's all there is.
Can you blame them either?
No.
Like, yeah, I'm like,
No.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh my God, wait, do we get off the list now? I want to make sure we stay on the list. God damn it.
Wait. Patriarchy.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
It's a very good thing. The idea, I like that little clip because it's sort of it was a very brief a moment of awareness for Chris Williamson. It's you have generations now of men or young men who've been told to man down, and now because it's becoming inconvenient to the life plans of women, we're saying man up.
Mm-hmm.
After 4 generations of saying man down. And so now it's I think what's fascinating to me is you'll still get the same message from guys like Dr. Richard Reeves or like Dr. Richard Reeves thinks that it's not a zero-sum game. We can just as easily benefit and advantage boys and not have to disadvantage girls. I know that's not how it worked for feminism. That's not how it worked for women becoming into the position that they're in right now. Because men had to be actively disadvantaged for women to quote
You're like
unquote,
saying affirmative action quotas and all that.
Achieve equality, right? Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? We have so advantaged women for so long that the idea of advantaging men or boys or young men, whatever it is patriarchy. We can't even have the fucking conversation without ending up on the peril list. We can't even have a conversation about alpha women love alphas. Mm-hmm. Well, I've just got a study right here that I just showed you a minute ago, how independent, powerful women who are affluent or educated want alpha men. That's what they want. It's right there.
When what's his name?
All
Seth
I'm doing
Rogen,
is reporting the news.
When Seth Rogen's movies outsell George Clooney's movies, let me know.
Right.
Where he stars them, not where he directs them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When your grandmother doesn't want to go see Aquaman because she's a fan of the DC comic book character, you let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is another really good quote right here. let's see. So we did every single country in the Western world now has a TFR below. This is the fertility
Total
rate.
fertility rate,
below
yep.
replacement, along with much of South America, North Africa, and Asia, particularly Northeast Asian countries. The single best predictor of the country's fertility rate is its level of affluence. Once a country crosses the threshold of $5,000 US dollars in GDP per capita, the wealth of a country like Indonesia, it starts the journey towards sub-replacement fertility. And those whom affluence loves the most, the urbanized, the secular, and the educated, are those it sterilizes most aggressively. Once you get past the $5,000 US GDP per capita, that's when your fertility starts falling off. Why is that? Because you put women into the workplace.
Or you have a, I would say if you're generationally used to being poor and all of a sudden you start getting money, you start to realize, and it might even be a nutrition thing. You eat more food because you're making more money and brain size and IQ increase. You can do the math where if we have less kids, we have more money per capita and it's a lot easier. And so I think that might also be, I'd have to go and research.
They were also talking about how like South Korea, like North Korea doesn't even need to invade South Korea. They just walk across the border.
Wait. Just wait.
Just wait for them. That's all. Yeah. This was another
one.
I
I would also then go back to my age-old observation I've had, and I've said it many times before. I'll say it on your channel for the handful of people who haven't heard it. This is proof to me that I don't think women like men that much. I mean, you got to be, if you're in the top 5%, top 10%, yes. I mean, it's a moving scale, but generally speaking, what you're seeing, if you're in subsistence farming, right, you need a man to get by. If you start getting into the point where like, no, your food, clothing, and shelter is kind of taken care of, or you could do white collar work, which women can, you're starting to see women's general lack of interest. So once a country becomes wealthy enough and women no longer are economically dependent upon men, whether that's through economic growth and high GDP per capita or a generous welfare state, you're starting to see behaviors, microeconomic individual behaviors adding up to a macroeconomic nationwide trend where you're saying, yeah, women's interest in men will go down, and associated with that would be fertility.
Yeah. Where did that one go? Here it is. University faculties went from being 32% female in 1987 to over 50% female in 2020. This is university. Like a lot of, like when we talk about like men being in education, it's usually the public schools, right? It's usually like, K through 12. The majority of New York Times employees are female. The publishing industry is 77% female. How does that make you feel?
I've never read the New York Times has always been
I mean like in the publishing industry, like people like who are approving our books, coincided with a drastic cultural shift in the direction of feminine values. That was interesting. And then this is marrying up educationally. These are guys who are like, because if you look at from 1960s to where we're at right now, husband more educated than the wife. Now we are seeing the switch taking place during 2015 and right about 2015 right there. Again, as a result of sort of this, but guys will say it's because of men's fault. Like men are checking out. Men don't want to do anything anymore. They're just basically saying, why bother? And I think one of the problems that you have right now, especially like when I'm watching, like say, I was trying to dig up the video, but Scott Galloway was recently on this talk show, I guess, with just a bunch of women, and the hostess was talking about how women have become more empowered and they're powerful and they're successful now. And I'm like, yeah, in certain fields,
right?
They're not successful in, being electricians or working in raw sewage or working on construction sites or working on oil derricks in the Gulf of Mexico or something like that. They're not successful in those jobs because they simply don't go into those jobs, right? And so Scott Galloway is sitting there like a fucking apologist the whole time. And the chick starts it out by saying, and I don't have the video, but starts it out by saying, why do these men hate women so much for their success? They just hate them. And of course, Scott has to toe the fucking line for all that whole thing. And I'm like, Scott, that's the first place you should have fucking started, is like call her out on this. It's like, men, the guys who are out there working on the roads, the guys who are fucking working at the patch in fucking Midland, Texas, the guys who are like trying to keep the lights on and everything else, they don't hate women because they're too busy trying to fucking make ends meet. Okay. These are the guys that are like, they're the invisibles that these powerful, you know, successful women don't even register on their freaking radar. Right. And so we keep going forward and forward with this. And what happens is, as you say, you know, women don't really care too much for men. Well, we've already been talking about how average women don't want to get with average men. They have to be above average. They have to make more than them. They have to be more educated. They have to be taller than them. They have more jacked than them.
Right.
They have to be more powerful than the most powerful woman. Right? They have to make it. And as women make more and more money and they get more education and I'm not saying women should dumb themselves down, but see what they're saying is that men ought to measure up and pick up. And because there's this presumption it's called The Myth of Male Power, right? Which was a book by, Farrell, Warren Farrell. The Myth of Male Power, that just because you have a penis hanging between your legs, that you are intrinsically advantaged in society some way. And it's simply not true. But we keep going with that because it sounds true. It sounds like it's logic. But now what happens is you get women who have become more educated. They become more affluent. They become more powerful, whatever you want to call it. They become the men that they wanted to marry. And now they say, Rollo, where's my man? How come I can't find any guys? How come I can't, how come there's no man waiting for me? I'm now 30. My eggs are dropping. I need to find a guy. My mom wants grandchildren, right? And I'm just saying, well, you need to get in touch with your feminine side, right? That's what we kept telling guys that in the 70s, and now we're telling women you need to get in touch with your feminine side. And they equate that with dumbing themselves down. With oh, you mean I have to play a character? I have to be somebody I'm not? I'm not going to do that for any man. He's going to have to measure up to me. I'm not going to pare myself down.
And we could argue whether that's genetics or they've been conditioned that way, but that's true or at least in their minds, and in terms of their actions. Now, maybe deep down inside they pine and wish they could be a stay-at-home wife. Well, I don't see that action taking place, and it's evidence. I mean, you could go ahead and look at, if you have that chart up again. Well, okay, we got to go to college. We got to go become girl bosses. We got to become strong and empowered, and that's fine. You can go ahead and do that if you, and you should, by the way, if it's in the right field. But are you really empowered? Are you really better off? Because if you look at what women typically major in, they're hog shit degrees. And a lot of people would say, well, men aren't manning up. No, men are avoiding a bad financial decision. And it's a difference in definition of what is success, what is power, that has blinded women to the good men that are available, and also blinded them to themselves in terms of what they want. And so, for example, there are plenty of, give you the worst of both scenarios, is you have a woman who has a advanced degree in a worthless field that is essentially a welfare jobs program. Like pretty much everyone in that payroll Department of Homeland Security, those were all welfare jobs. I don't care if you got a PhD. I don't care if you're a professor. You don't produce anything of value. And you got a degree that's pretty freaking easy. But I have a degree. I have a job. I have success. Yeah, and you sponge the money off the taxpayer, and that money isn't coming next year. Now, I'm a strong, independent girl, but so their value is way up here. It's like a .com that made its first penny per share. It shoots up. Meanwhile, guys don't go to college. I think the main erroneous metric we're using is education. Men are avoiding college, which is exactly what you should be doing, unless it's accounting or engineering or something worthwhile. They're saving their money and they're going into the trades. But because we put so much education on a college degree, and then I guess the lifestyle of the girl boss, whether you're downtown and you're a journal or marketing, HR director or whatever. I'm sorry, ladies, most of all those professions I listed aren't real professions. They're bullshit. You don't do anything for a real job. I'm not slamming on women. I'm slamming on people with worthless degrees. But because you're in this environment, you go through the process of the procedures, and you get a degree, and there's the marching and the celebration, and you're awarded a degree. You are blinded to the real men who are actually making real money. Do you know what those oil workers make? On the low end, 100,000, but
Yeah.
you won't touch him because he isn't pretty boy investment banker Floyd. And so that's where that chart, the chart means nothing. Education means nothing now, but that's one of the biggest bits of misinformation is using education as a measure of success. And that's where you get women over investing in education and men running for the fucking hills from it because they're so sick and tired of being poor. They're going into the trades or accounting, whatever else.
I got this right here, which is basically, I think a lot of people don't understand that women outrank men in college completion across the board.
Oh yeah,
like
they're 60%
every
of
society,
yes.
and it's not just the United States. Is
it global?
Everywhere.
Okay,
yeah, everywhere. Right.
Have fun with your journalism degree, ladies. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I was going to say is I've got another video to get to, but but before I was going to do that is like when Eric Weinstein was saying they're not like these guys are not leaning to the right. They're getting out of your fucking way.
They're leaving the Democrat Party.
They're just leaving, because there's nothing there for them. All you're going to do is just sit there and berate them. But what do we expect them to do? What I love that one line. He's like, what else is there for them?
Right.
What is there for to do? And I made this case even in my book Religion. Like people go, well, why are men leaving the church so much? Well, what the fuck is there for them? It's actively hostile to anything that is conventionally masculine. Of course they left it. And this is one of the things I just lock horns with the traditional conservative Christian guy who wants to get back to have, Legion of Men or whatever, like what I don't know, Pinnacle of Men is, whatever it is got a lion on the thing or a Spartan helmet or some shit like that in their group. And it's like, but what are you offering them? Like, what is being produced as a result of this? Because those guys, I remember as far back as, I mean, I knew you back then, but like back in 2014, 2015, and I'm starting to do a little bit, I'm kind of getting an inkling that I want to do the religion book, right? And I got to start doing my research. And I didn't start till like 2017, but I'm doing my research, I'm doing my interviews and everything else. And I began to notice that it was a lot of men. But it was this mass exodus from churchianity, right? From church culture. And by that, I mean like evangelical, Catholic. It was anything that we were talking about on Dalrock back in the day. And it was this mass exodus of guys. And like, there were some guys who were in quote unquote men's ministries. So looking around the church and it's nothing but women. And like, what happened to all the guys? And then suddenly, somewhere along the line, some smart motherfucker came along and said, "Oh, they're in the manosphere. They're following Rollo. They're reading Dalrock.
That's where they're going to church on the internet.
Yeah, they're going. What? And why? Because there was nothing there for them. In fact, there was one thing there: hostility. Like, man up, measure up, do better. That's all it was. If you go and you look at the difference between like a Mother's Day sermon and a Father's Day sermon, for women, it's, oh, we love women. Here's your rose and everything, and we appreciate and hold you up as the life givers and the whatever the fuck it is, right? For men, do better. That's all the message is always, and it always has been and always will be, really since right around 2012. Do better. You're a piece of shit. Do better. It's exactly the same message that Eric Weinstein was talking about in the universities. Do better in the schools. Do better.
Well, and he also talked about motivation. Look, you need something to get up to. If anything, a lot of the questions I'm getting through consulting is, okay, women are either I don't have time to pursue them, or I've been rejected. I got to figure out something else to do, and they got to figure out, okay, well, what is there? And there's religion and a whole bunch of other things that people can pursue in life. But if you're going to take women away, all right, what do men want? Here's the answer. Men want women. Not loud, obnoxious, pain in the ass men who happen to be women. We want feminine, beautiful women, of which, think about that. What do I want? I want a girl with big boobs, tight ass, sex, makes me a sandwich and treats me nice. Just saying that, which is true.
You're on the peril list. Get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think I am? A slave? All right, fine. Grant you, women don't want to play that role. I accept that. That's fine. What else are you going to motivate men with in society? And they don't have anything to answer with that. And what's worse is, especially in college, or I'm sorry, K through college, the education system, this is where the feminism thing comes in. And I will put myself on the peril list. I do believe feminism modernly is a hatred of male movement or a female supremacy movement, whatever you want. And you get into it's one thing deny men what they truly want. Okay, because that involves other people and they may not voluntarily want to be. Okay, fine. We're at this impasse in history. All right. Well, what could we get secularly outside of women? Well, we're not even going to bother telling you that. And then third, not only are we not going to even consider what you want outside of women, we're going to blame you for all the problems.
Yeah.
And you're like, why aren't men?
If you question that, we're going to put you on the
video
list.
games and drinking and having drugs, and I don't understand.
That's all pornography.
Why are men looking at hot chicks with big boobs on the internet? I don't. Why are they? Oh my God, it's shameful. He had to get an escort. Oh my God, and it just but look, you're unfortunately, whether people, society, like it or not, men are half the population. If you want, I'd like to think you care about that half and like, oh, maybe we should consider what they want. But okay, maybe you don't like men, but they are an unnecessary evil in this world. You have to consider what they want. But don't be so dumb as to ignore what men want, ignore men as human beings, ignore that they have to have a reason to get up, or go so far as to hate on them because you majored in dumb shit and need a bailout and you think it's because you got boobs. You don't expect a society to last much longer without participating.
And I think
half.
what's even more interesting is like we're still like focusing on the quote unquote female empowerment, right? The empowered female, the strong independent female, right? And I can still get behind that, but it's even more than that because it filters down. It filters down into the expectations. So like one of the things I always throw out there is there's this one moment on Fresh and Fit where I think it might have even been Destiny or somebody who asked them, what percentage of women do you think actually get to go to these yacht parties because they happen to be, Drake happened to see their Instagram, liked her and flew her out. Right. And it's probably a fraction of 1%.
Oh,
right?
very microscopic.
Yeah,
small.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then Fresh is like 30%. I like Fresh. Even I would not.
Fresh is God bless him.
I love Fresh. I love Fresh.
He's
I love me
still
some
innocent.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't heard this one.
God wants you to have the baby.
Definitely not.
We love you, Fresh. We love you. We really do.
He is the younger brother.
Yeah,
I never had.
I love Fresh. We have both been friends for a long time. But no, so he said that, and I pointed this out though. I said, but that's not the point. The point isn't like the percentage of women who are actually going out there. It's the percentage of women who believe that it could happen to them. Right. So if they see some random chick on Instagram and they go, I'm hotter than that bitch. How come she gets to go to the yacht party and I don't? That means now my self-perceived value goes, I could, because I'm hotter than that bitch. Mm-hmm. I could have been on Drake's radar if he'd only seen me, blah, 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 blah. Right. And so you have this sort of it's sexual market value escalation and it's false inflation. Like I was saying before, like you probably heard me say this before, is that, the sexual marketplace is an economy and it is subject to all of the features and all of the downfalls and everything else that a normal economy would be subject to, right? Inflation, depression, whatever.
Flooding of the market,
lack
of demand,
yes, recessions, depressions, whatever you want to call it, should be as an economy. I mean, you have to make like certainly analogies in those situations, but it is an economy. And one of those things is like women end up pricing themselves out of the market because they overvalue what they actually are and what they actually have. So if you go and you look at, say, like whatever podcast, and Brian goes around the table and says, on a rating of 1 to 10, what do you think you are? Every chick's, I'm a 10. Yeah. And it's because they're taught from a very early age never to deprecate them, saying everybody's special, everybody's a 10, everybody gets a participation trophy, you're all 10s, you're all special, you're all superheroes, you're all victims, and we should all stick together and lock arms and in solidarity kind of thing. And the problem with that is that it contributes to this sort of like female zeitgeist or sisterhood, right? Where women end up pricing themselves out of the market because they saw some other girl get asked out to a yacht party by some athlete or a rapper or something like that. And so that's really what's artificially inflating the market. So it's not about who's actually going and doing it. It's about the impression that is being given to those women that it could possibly happen for them.
Right. But whose problem is that?
That's women's problem.
Exactly. See, and here, think about what you're asking, guys. Is you want to get the girls, and there's all this shit going on with artificial inflation, with online social media. There's feminism being whispered in their ear. Maybe genetically they never really wanted. All the wisdom they get from everyone is you can have children at 42.
Yeah.
But I can get better, and I dated this guy. At the end of the day, do you think the average guy who's got to bust his ass off to pay for his student loans has to worry about this? Do you think the average guy who came from poverty and is like doing his stint in the military so he could go become a tradesman out of it, do you think these guys have time for this? And I think that's what a lot of men are starting to realize. I just don't have, and it's reflecting. It's reflecting in your labor force participation, men not going to college, things like that. I think they're doing a little bit more intelligently, but you see an increase in the NILFs, not in labor force, or the NEETs, not education, employment, or training, like a classical market for any kind of good, like the housing market. You know what the solution to high prices was? High prices.
More high prices.
People couldn't afford it. There came a point in time where the last guy says, I'm buying the house, and the next guy said, no, I'm not. And if you were to look at demand, quote unquote, for quote the commodity of women, it is dropping off the cliff. But just like back in the housing days, there were other factors that kept developers and real estate manufacturing thinking that the prices were going to maintain, and they kept them up. They didn't realize that demand was going down. People were defaulting on their mortgages. All the fundamentals were going down. And I think men, they're just like, I can't afford this. I can't afford it financially. I can't afford it time-wise. Dude, I can't make heads and tails out of the mess that is your average 22-year-old girl who like thinks they're the greatest thing ever, and I don't have time for other people. And no, they're done, and they're doing something other than pursuing these girls. But the market, quote unquote, will inevitably crash. All markets do. Everything comes back to equilibrium. But right now, because it is so complicated, and women might be so artificially inflated, like a market, if you will. But after a while, people can't afford it, and they're dropping out of the market. And how that's going to manifest in the real world, I don't know. You're definitely seeing more and more women. Where have all the good men gone? Economically unattractive men. I think some of them are sad. Depressant use is going up, and self-deletion rates going up even among women, among other reasons. But will they ever have an epiphany? Will this generation be like, oh my God, you know what the answer was? Dick. I need a dick to be happy. Oh my God. And not 70 dicks, just one okay plumber dick. Doesn't know. I think there's too much propaganda. So, and I've mentioned this before, I think you're looking at least 2 generations being wasted.
Oh yeah.
Because what does it take to become a man? It takes at least, 18 years of growth, and then training, programming, working hard, saving money, frugality, exercise, all that. Men aren't like that. Same thing with women. What makes a good woman? It just isn't like some guy like, oh, wait a second. You know what? I'm gonna switch I'm gonna flick the switch from bitch to nice girl. It doesn't. And then all of a sudden, let's say you did do that. Where are the guys? They haven't been investing to become husbands. And so I think we're going to just have this 2 generations of malaise. If the boomers and the Gen X wasn't already malaised enough with their gorgeous divorce rates, but the younger people who are interested in dating and romantic dynamics, I don't think. You look, how many people are following Destiny? I mean, really, how many boys? I mean, what
boys?
Well, yeah, but
yeah,
you look at what in defense of women. Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed off at men too. There's not a lot of alpha guys out there, but it's over. I mean, it's over for the next 2 generations. And until we have conversations like we're having now, and I'm going to make this a very important point, women come back to the table if they are interested in men. That's a huge if that has yet to be determined. We're going to be in this twilight zone for quite well beyond you and I being dead.
Yeah, when I got on Dr. Phil, we got into this conversation about like women don't need men, but they want men. Well, don't you think that women who want men are more sincere than women who need, like, as if necessity was like some sort of like like downplaying.
Oh, like,
right?
yeah.
And I don't think they really understood because they're not from the sphere, so they can't really get a grasp of this. But like when I talk about how women say they don't need men, but they want men, it's they don't need men because they've already taken care of their long-term security needs, like the beta bucks, provisioning, protection, parental investment, right? Whether that's through the state or that's through their education or whatever it is, or they got child support or whatever, however they maintain that. And so when women start talking about how they don't need men for at least the perception is, as I was saying before, the perception with Drake, flying about,
right,
the perception for women is that they don't need men because they can take care of all that. I make my own damn money. I'm the boss, right? Or they really realize that because they're doing OnlyFans or something like that, or maybe they're an influencer or whatever, they're making more money than the average guy can actually make because they're a hot piece of ass at 22 years old. And of course, the only guy who is going to be able to sort of lift them out of that lifestyle is going to be a guy who makes $10 million. And I was saying this before, is that most young women today are living out, and somebody's going to rip me off after this, by the way, are living out the pretty woman story. That's what they are.
You are.
You're
right.
You're the hooker with the heart of gold. You're really a sweet, lawful, good girl, but you're just in a bad situation because you're turned into an escort. You're a hooker. You're a whore. Oh, yeah. Right? You're a whore. But then along comes Richard Gere, the prince, knight in shining armor, and the only way he can lift Julia Roberts out of the lifestyle is to be a multi-millionaire industrialist. What's an industrialist? Nobody knows.
I thought he was a venture. He was a venture.
Nobody knows. He is. A venture capitalist. Angel investor. Something like that. But they're living out this fantasy that they're going to be able to be a prostitute, or for lack of a better term, a prostitute, until Richard Gere or some very rich industrialist multimillionaire is going to come and lift them out of that lifestyle. And the only way that's going to happen is not going to be from some average dude that they fall in love with. They have two options. Ladies, you're going to settle. You will fucking settle. You will settle for, like Lana Del Rey did, for the airboat captain guy who is like hunting alligators and is in no way could ever possibly conceivably make the same amount of money that Lana Del Rey already has in her bank account right now. But you can be that alpha male gator hunter motherfucker who's out there like wrestling gators in the the Ozarks,
shooting
or whatever.
hogs or whatever. Right?
You can be that dude. And Lana Del Rey might take a liking to you because she just happened to go take your airboat tour and fall in love with you, right? Okay, that's a possibility. You, ladies, you might be Lana Del Rey, but guess what you did? You just settled for the airboat captain, all right? And maybe that's what you want. Maybe he was alpha enough to pull that shit off, right? Or you're going to settle for a guy who's not Richard Gere and fucking Pretty Woman. Okay, you're going to settle. Or you're going to be alone. I was going to say there was the third option.
Yep.
Third option is cats, ice cream, and freezing your eggs.
But you know whose problem that is?
Women.
That's a them problem.
That's a them problem. Yeah, and women do not like. I'm going to go back on the fucking misogyny list or whatever the fuck it is because I'm basically pointing out that this is what. Please disagree with me if you think I'm wrong. I would love to hear why you think that that's not the case. But the thing is women think that they're going to be in Pretty Woman because they're making X amount of dollars, and the only guy who could ever lift them out of that sort of lifestyle is Richard Gere, is the industrialist guy, is the multimillionaire. And there's only so many of those. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to share Richard Gere.
Oh,
you're going to share him with
he's a time lease. Yes.
You're going to share him with with several other hookers with a heart of gold. Yeah, several of them. Yeah. Hey, this was pretty good. I meant to show you this one. We talked about men have paid off a significant portion of their student loans since 2009.
Strong
women
and
have not.
Wait,
yes, here's your strong and independent.
Wait a minute,
women.
am I on the misogyny list?
I think we just went back on. Yes.
Now, is the chart misogynist as well? I know it's truthful. It's numbers.
That's family. Go talk to the Jane Family Institute there. Go talk to the economics numbers right there. This is the repayment of those loans from a little over 2021, something like that.
2022.
Yeah,
it's recent.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty recent from 2009. And you look at them. So, ladies, you're not paying back your loans. What is it at? Are we at like 1.7 trillion?
How can they with their laughable, stupid degrees. I mean, it's,
you know how they can?
OnlyFans?
Exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Yes. They became a surgical nurse. Took them 8 years to get there. And guess what? OnlyFans pays more.
Imagine that. There's like a market of people. If only there was a market where half the population made nearly all the darn real money, and they really craved and demanded something, and they would pay tremendously for it. If only there was a field that women could specialize in.
Yes. We've democratized prostitution. We have democratized stripping. You can do it from the comfort of your own home today. Rejoice, ladies. Everything has been done for you. Here, let's get to these. Drew Bay has an NPC in his campaign that Cappy would be perfect to play as $20 is $20. Okay. So they want you to play Dungeons and Dragons with them.
I got time now. I could do it again. I finished everything off. I actually got time.
I want to get the guys out here so we can play a live game. We should play right here at this fucking table.
Dude, it's the perfect table for it. I got my dice. I got my Vegas dice.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. Look at these old dudes talking about looks. Thank you, Viking Dad Wisdom. See, I knew those guys from Raw Squad would show up sooner or later. Black pill channels who obey YouTube rules get removed all the time. Yeah, I'm sure. Even looks maxing channels get targeted. They target any platform that supports guys. Yeah, true. Very true. Rolo, last time I wore a hoodie like that, I was watching Ren and Stimpy.
Me?
You're wearing the hoodie.
I'm wearing the hoodie.
He's wearing the hoodie.
This is a Buc-ee's hoodie.
What do you think? That's Ren and Stimpy? That's
not Ren and Stimpy. It's Buc-ee.
Tell them about the virtues of Buc-ee's. Isn't it like it's like a Wawa, isn't it?
No, it's a gas station, but it's like a Walmart of gas stations, and it's just I think sometimes they got like over 100 pumps.
Is it like in the Northeast? Is it Central America?
It's mostly South. They're slowly making their way. They're going to have one in Madison. They just opened one north.
They don't have
Denver.
any over here. They
don't have any over here. I think the closest one might be Arizona. But it's just it's a fun place. You could get really good brisket and barbecue.
No, I'm already sold.
I got my girlfriend a Buc-ee's bikini with 2 Buc-ee's right here. I mean, they're just the funnest, most American place.
Now you're back on the list again.
But no, have you been to Buc-ee's?
Get off, get on.
Have you been to
I've never been to Buc-ee's.
Oh my God. What?
I've been to Wawa's. I've been to Maverick.
We'll go to the strip for the 84th time with Mike Sartain and his nightclub. You won't go to a Buc-ee's.
Where's a Buc-ee's?
I don't know. You want to look at
Is there one?
Close. I think
is there
it's
one
Arizona.
in Nevada?
No,
I
don't think
Arizona.
Arizona.
We would have to drive to Arizona.
We'd have to drive. Right. Yeah.
Well, next time I go see
you're in
Robert.
Florida. The next time you go to Florida, they got them.
They got them there. Okay. Oh, yay! This is for Ned, the #1 economist in the world.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Sam Whiskey is just stabbing me in the back.
Just killing it today. CHD. Hey, Rolo, what about making a Streamlabs donation link for Access Vegas like FNF does? I have thought about doing that. We're leaning more towards Rumble for our super chats on Access Vegas right now. YouTube is still the most popular platform, unfortunately, but yeah, I think probably we're working out a Streamlabs thing might be better.
You know what? It's so sad because YouTube could make so much damn money if they just like backed off and just say, hey, we're not going to get, as long as you're not threatening people or anything like that. But all this headache and they got to enforce it on their end. Like they got to pay, I got to imagine hundreds of millions, if not a couple $1 billion a year, having people watch and file complaint. Oh my God. Like, well, what's the content? Like, how about you just don't care and just let it. But I mean, and if push comes to shove, all right, fine. We'll use alternate. And then, I mean, YouTube takes 30%.
Yeah, they're already taking the most of any other platform.
Right. I mean, it's a flank they might want to consider.
As soon as Substack becomes more popular in video podcasting, and they can work it out, so you can actually I would jump to Substack in a second.
Are they very popular?
Substack is becoming more popular as a sort of a universal platform. It's for smart guys. It's mostly for blogging, and it's the difference between Substack and YouTube and other platforms is it's subscription based. So you make your money off of subscribers. So there's different ways to do it. You can do it yearly, you can do it monthly, that kind of stuff. And usually my subscribers are there for my writing. I just do blogging there right now, but you can do live streams. You can do those things, but you're making the money off your subscriptions rather than
it's like locals or something.
Now they could probably institute something where you could do super chats, but the people who are going to be watching you are going to be your subscribers already. So, and that's the thing is most like Rumble would very much love to go to a subscribership basis. YouTube fucked themselves because they are on everything is based on like super chats. The majority of money that is brought in is not so much advertising, but it is almost entirely if you're in the live stream business. If you're doing like regular videos and stuff, then yes. But but for if you're doing live stream like long form content like I do all the time. What happens is you have to rely primarily on super chats and then taking the good hot takes out of the show and then putting them on clips channels, and then you can make revenue money, ad revenue money.
Sounds like a lot of work.
But that's if you're not talking about manosphere topics and shit that they don't approve of. They can't say that they disapprove of it, but they can still throttle you back. And by the way, one of the things I failed to point out when we were talking about the diverting hate stuff is they still are redirecting my traffic and your traffic and everybody who's on that list. They did ad buys.
Yeah,
on
for
top of
the
everything else.
wannabe men's channels.
For Justin Baldoni, right? And I'm like, I have tried to get in touch with Justin Baldoni and say, why did you approve this? Are you that desperate for my fucking traffic that you are okay with this NGO that is using taxpayer dollars to give you money so that they can redirect my traffic to your site? You're good. Apparently you're good with that because that sounds like bitch behavior.
Did you look up the sites?
Oh yeah. Justin Baldoni I already knew about. So. They are state approved.
Show me government approved art without showing me government approved art, and they're pussies.
Yeah.
Okay. I looked at them. I'm like, these. I mean, there are a couple manly guys. I'm like, okay, that guy maybe, but the rest of them, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah. The Good Man Project was one of them.
Just a bunch of soy
which
boys.
Is way old. I'm like, how did you dig these motherfuckers up? But then when they put, and I already have a problem with Justin Baldoni. The fact that he's man bun masculinity.
Okay,
basically.
That's
barista masculinity. Cry it out masculinity.
And
Drum circle masculinity.
Hey man.
Yes. Let's go sun our bungholes. Yes. We need to do yoga, hot yoga. Then then we talk about our issues. Yes. Yeah.
I wrote you a poem, sweetheart.
Yes. And then they scream it out. Yo, it's anger management.
What? Out in the woods somewhere?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, at the beach. At the beach house in Malibu. The beach house in Malibu. If you ever hear like, it's probably that's a men's group for Justin Baldoni.
All right, it's government masculinity. Can we call it that?
The funny thing is like when I'm working with Bex, who's been helping me with the whole like she's this chick who looks into conspiracy kind of people think she's
I know her. She's a younger gal.
She's been helping me out with this stuff. She was the one who got me the link, and because Diverting Hate killed their Twitter account right after that.
Really?
Yes, and they also closed the link to the biannual report.
I saved it.
I have it too. That's what I was just reading. Too late, guys. Hey,
Dasha, fuck you.
Yeah, I'm thinking that the reason why I can't find the annual one is because it's already offline. They just don't want people to know about it. Assuming it's even still around, but I'm hoping that it's off. But the fact that they would have had to talk to these guys and say, we're going to do ad buys for your thing. Like, is that okay for it with you? They would have to, maybe it's not permission, but they would have to at least know that this spike in traffic is coming through this third party agency and you're okay with that. And even if you're not, and I'm making you aware of it, are you okay with this? Nothing. They don't care. They just fucking they want the money.
This has been a money grab.
Yeah, it's a money grab.
Were any of these government masculinity shows, were any of them organic that existed before?
Baldoni did, but he already had a not nearly as well watched as anything else as was certainly fresh and fit, like some of the big
Right.
ones.
No, I'm just wondering. They didn't just pop up because now there's government money and they're going to go away.
They're
These
not,
guys,
they're
there is
not,
some
they're not
okay.
creations of this.
Okay, all right, but so there is some authenticity. They have their own audience. I don't know. Yeah, should government money go to this? No. Should they be paying to divert our traffic? No. We did make advertising revenue off of it though, because they paid to run ads on our channels.
Yeah, such
But,
as it is.
yeah, but I don't know. Fine,
to redirect it. Yeah.
Go buy government issued feminist girlfriend. Go buy government issued. I mean, get government issued cheese. I don't care. Eat your government cheese. See what happens. Let them do their show.
Nuke says,
Hey,
how about a statue of Pat Campbell? We'd have to do it in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yes. What's this one? It's time to stop this ridiculous Walt Disney Nickelodeon fallacy idea of compatibility and be honest about sexual compatibility. It's how the birth rate will skyrocket. Yes, you have to fuck to actually have babies. I don't know why that is like rocket science for people, but like I kept,
dude,
like I got asked this. I was on Access Vegas, and I think it was this chick Stephanie. She says, "What do guys like? You know, when it comes to from a woman, what do men really want from a woman?" First thing I said is sex and respect, and in that order. It's like fuck the guy. Fuck him, and fuck him some more. And then, show him some love, show him some respect, show him some appreciation for what he does for you. Really, it's that fucking simple. And if you were fucking him on a regular basis, it would probably cure 90% of the issues that you have.
Do they? Here's my, see, I don't want to sound like the black pill guy, but if women wanted to have sex and they wanted to get a guy, could they?
Yes.
Do they? Yeah, it depends.
No, because it's a utility. That's why.
I know, but
or I should say it's seen as. I mean, you're never going to take out out of the sexual equation. You're never going to take out the utility that sex has for women. You will never.
I understand that, right? But if oh my god, I can't find a guy. Da 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 da. It's like, look, it's harder for me to change the air filter in my car than it is for girls to be pretty and nice and punctual, right? That's it. And then I'm trying to point out to a lot of guys like, look, man, if it was that easy, it is that easy, and yet they still generally are not doing it, or not to the level you'd like. And I understand that while there's got to be an attachment and all that.
I pointed this out.
But in other words, their behavior is deafening. It's very deafening.
Yeah. Well, we always get this whenever like we're reacting to like for the sugar daddy video that we just watched or something like when you look at sex as a transaction and you look at how like now I'm going to go back on the list again. You look at how so that's the clip for this whole fucking show. And you look at as I said, it's always going to be a utility, and even if it's not a utility, it always could be a utility, right? And so what happens is I think a lot of guys, even black pill doomer guys, still subscribe to this idea that if a woman does that, it's bad and it's evil and it's immoral, right? That they shouldn't do. They should love you for the sake of loving you. And I'm like, well, it's not that every woman will, it's that any woman can.
Right.
And so you have to get, this is like, it's funny to me because this is a very secular kind of argument, but you could also make it a religious thing too, right? Where it's like, she should love you because she loves you, and it shouldn't matter how much money you make, and it shouldn't matter how much, like if you have an economic downturn, you lose your job or whatever, you have some sort of medical disability or something like that. It shouldn't matter because she should love you for the sake of loving you. And I keep pointing this out is that women love opportunistically and men love idealistically. And that idealism is founded in this idea of what is right and what is wrong. Right. So it's wrong for a woman to be opportunistic when it comes to her sex or when it comes to the utility of sex. Right. Until we go and we say, well, but men need to man up and they need to make more money so that they can become more attractive to women. And now you're basing this whole other argument on how to attract women and how to get into a relationship with a woman based on economic and transactional factors. Right. And so, but we're okay to talk about that before the relationship happens. But once you get into the relationship, and now we go back and we default to the idealism. We default to the idea that that guys should, like, it's evil for a woman to be opportunistic from within the confines of marriage because she took vows. right? And then, so therefore she promised. And women have no honor, and they have no duty, or they have no sense of masculine duty, and there's no these bitches ain't loyal, that kind of stuff. And it's based on right and wrong, whereas before the relationship happens, it's based on just simple biology and everything else. That's where you're always going to run into a problem, because you now trip some switch once you say I do, and now it's all supposed to be about love, and you wonder why women are filing for divorce at 70 because it doesn't stop. Hypergamy doesn't care about the fucking vows you said at your wedding. You still have to be on top of your game, and that's what I think a lot of guys think, that they can sort of let down their hair and be relaxed.
Well, too bad for them, because I'm not so naive. I mean, nowhere do I say don't deliver what women want. They got to be viscerally attracted to you as well. Yeah. But after a while, you got to say, look, if at the same time, if girls were interested in you, in other words, you got to listen to what the market is telling you, and you got to then decide whether or not trying to go buy a bushel of apples is worth it or not. If there just isn't any bushels of apples, well, then okay, how much do you want to improve yourself to the point a bushel of apples might become available to you? But you still have to learn. But at the same time, it's not just men's responsibility. Men have got to realize that. Look, women can. Look,
I am so, maybe you've heard this, but I am so fucking sick of, and it usually comes from the tradcon side, but I am so fucking sick of hearing mostly women, but also well-meaning guys say, well, women will be better if men were just better.
No, right? We're beyond that point.
I'm like, at what point do we cease to be our sister's keeper and we say women have fucking agency? Because I want you to tell it, like, if that's you think, well, if men were better, if men would just be more moral and upstanding, and they
then
didn't,
she'd suck
and
your
we
dick.
and we didn't watch porn, and we didn't watch Instagram or OnlyFans, and guys would just keep their dicks in their pants, then we would dry up this economy, and then they would have to fucking fuck us for be good and shape up and everything. Like, no, they wouldn't. So essentially what you're saying is they have no free will, and they have no actual moral agency. The only moral agency they have comes through men. Is that what you're saying? Because I want you to tell me that right now, because you throw your entire fucking argument for anything else, for marriage and everything else, goes out the fucking window.
And I don't think that side of the argument, those people realize men have hit their limit. And I don't mean in terms of patience, though that too. Dude, there's only so much time in a day. And especially the younger guys are, and you look at rent or housing costs and car costs and all that. A lot of guys simply can't afford to chase women. And they certainly can't meet these irrational expectations of women, or these demands of women. And they got to eat. They got to pay rent. And they don't have time to then go to the gym and then go to church and be on the choir and Bible study, and then date you,
and the HOA,
and then take you on 8 dates to make you girls. I'm going to go back on the list. You girls are going to have to lower your standards and give some guys a shot or two, and go on a couple dates.
Look at Lana Del Rey. She got with the alligator.
I know she got. Well, you're going to have to go out with the guy who maybe didn't have his hair combed because he got out of the gym. I mean, really, the
Hey, you know what the first thing they said about Lana Del Rey? They're like,
He's using her for her money.
Can you pull her up?
Yes,
I don't know
she
who
is.
Lana Del Rey looks like.
Oh,
is she a good looking gal?
Give me a Lana Del Rey. She's a singer, right?
Well, I don't know.
All right, look that up real quick. Aaron, with both spouses working in a relationship marriage, how should finances be managed? We want you to be Dave Ramsey right now. Should the man take care of the big purchases, or 50-50?
No, it's 50-50. Everyone's independent. The laws are they're actually disfavored against men with affirmative action. But generally speaking, we've been operating, and as a society and government policy being made, we've all been investing and basing policy on equality. Women got to pay now. I'm sorry. It's just, that's what it is. Yeah, she's, is she cute? I can't tell. She looks overweight. Oh, she's all right. Yeah. Yeah,
she's older now. She's 39 now.
Okay, cool.
But she got with the
you know what?
hunter.
I bet you she's happy.
Yeah, but
I mean, shoot an alligator. How fun would that be? Hey, babe, you want to go shoot some alligators?
Yeah,
It'd be kind of fun.
My advice to alligator hunter is keep being an alligator.
Yeah, keep being an alligator.
Do not
hunter.
do anything. Don't relax. Don't just keep doing what you're doing.
Do you know how many women I wooed with? Hey, do you want to go hiking? None. Absolutely none whatsoever. No. Ballroom dancing, yes.
Yes.
But,
salsa dancing.
Salsa dancing, yes.
See, we got you. Nuclear Cadillo. Tiffany Fong is a real life pretty woman. Tiffany Fong is not a real life anything. She is she's AI creation.
That's what I knew that. I know what the kids are up to nowadays.
I love it. She just popped out this question. Probably her AI PR team. About like, what do men really want for a birthday present or a Christmas present or blah, 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 blah. It's just meant to get engagement.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
No,
of course. And guys are stupid and they take the bait. I just want tits and fucking scrambled eggs and some beer, and that's what they're expecting. Right. So I threw it on there and I knew I don't have any problem responding to her because I know she's not going to reply back because there is nobody to reply back. There's no one to reply back. So I'm like, ladies, if you really want to get a guy a good present, find out what he likes. Don't ask him, observe, listen to his, make mental notes. Is he into a hobby? Is he into a sport? Is he into a particular, has he mentioned some interest in panning for gold or some shit like that? Does he like to go pick up rocks while he's hiking?
Those are fun times, man. They're fun times.
And so it's like, pick up on those things. Get him a gift based on something that showed that you took interest enough to not have to ask him and have the conversation about it, but you knew that enough about him that you knew he kind of liked that.
If there was only a hint or a sign as to what men like.
Go to Buc-ee's and get the brisket and give it to him for a Christmas
Also, the
present.
closest Buc-ee's is in Colorado or Texas.
Oh, fuck.
Either one.
We're a ways away.
Might get to Texas.
Yeah, it depends on where Colorado.
Oh man!
But
and so I put that on there, and then at the end I go, and don't be a lazy cunt. And I said, lazy cunts ask for advice about what to get there, everybody gave me shit about. Why'd you call her a lazy cunt? You know why? Because she's not a
real.
human. There's just nothing there.
No
she is a PR team. That's what she is. By the time most women are ready to settle, the guys they ignored for decades don't want them anymore.
There's a fair amount after a while, and I need a neurologist, but I'm curious. Neuroplasticity.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're conditioned a certain way, it's hard for you to switch after a while.
You beat a dog enough times.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, men who they're like not like, oh, doomer pill or whatever. Women don't know I'm so sad, or they're just like, no, I don't have time. Like, what are the effects? Like, say, the millennial generation of men right now who are just like, I barely got by. I didn't have the food. I got to get the rent, and I'm wondering how they got to be fractionally interested in women at the age of 40 as previous generations of men were. Like after a while, you go down this path, and again, going back to my flip the switch, the next day women came out magically were thin and nice and sweet and hot. I wonder how many guys are just like, yeah, I've made too many decisions in my life now, or I'm overseas, or I'm just accustomed to being alone. That, okay, yeah, we could, but you got to have your own plan. I'm curious. I think the millennial generation is forsaken. I think the Zoomers are forsaken. I don't think they could ever possibly be salvaged, even if there was a miraculous epiphany on the part of women. Like, okay, we welcome you, we love you, we're sorry, we'll never do that again. I'm wondering how many men are like, I'm tapped out. Like, I just don't got it anymore.
Yeah, I think that if there's ever going to be any kind of like offset, it's going to be the Lana Del Rey effect. You're going to have to be an alpha motherfucker
in your field,
and you know what? You're just going to have to be passionate about that field, and you're going to have to killing alligators. I don't know what the fuck, airboat captain. And if a chick comes and takes a liking to you, understand it's not based on what you can provide for her, or at least operate from that presumption. Operate from the presumption that it's not about what you can provide for her. It's how good you can fucking lay down the dick.
I agree. Yes.
It's not going to be
Sterling
about
Cooper in here.
because if a woman is making a shit ton of money off of, well, in Lana Del Rey's case, she's a singer, right? But if she's making a shit ton of money off of OnlyFans, or she's an empowered, attorney or whatever the hell she is, and she's making more money than you, the airboat captain, understand that the attraction there is not an economic attraction. It's a visceral arousal, physical attraction.
He's a cool guy.
I want him to fuck the shit out of me.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, right? And so there, at that point, you might have a case of, well, she's got nothing. She doesn't have to be provided for by you. So that sort of removes all of the transactional nature of it. And now the sort of like the ball is in your court. And that's why I kept saying, it's like, if you find yourself as being in the situation of the alligator guy, don't stop being the alligator guy. Stay doing what you're fucking doing. Stay doing that, because that's what got you there. That's where guys lose the narrative is when they think that they have to be what is expected of them. Oh man, I'm with Lana Del Rey. How can I make $30 million as a airboat operator? You're not going to make that kind of money. Just now
I'm wondering what caliber is he a 308 to shoot an alligator? Like,
have you ever done alligator hunting?
No,
I have actually.
What do you use for caliber?
So it depends, because when I was in Florida, I mean, you could shoot that way, but what they use is bang sticks. It's basically a stick with a shotgun shell on the end of it, because the gators will come right up to you. It's not like you have to go, I need a scope, and all you got to do is shine a light out at dusk or at nighttime. You'll see all their eyes out there. And there is plenty of them there. And what they have in Florida is they have a lottery for alligator hunting, and there's a specific season, and they want you to hunt them because there's a lot of alligators.
Kind of invasive.
And so the best thing about alligator hunting is they use every part of the alligator. So like for leather, for meat, for teeth, every part of the gator is used, and they will pay you by the foot. So an 8-foot alligator is worth more than a 6-foot alligator, right?
All right.
And then you don't have to be an alligator hunter to get the alligator hunting license. In fact, most people aren't. What they do is they put their money in for the license, they get it through the lottery, and then they go and look for a guy who's an airboat captain. He's like, okay, I have it. So here's how we do it. And then you give him you're splitting the take, basically, is what
they got to make money too.
Yeah, they got to make some cash off of it. So that's how the hunting works. But with the actual physical hunting is they just basically throw out some meat. The biggest alligator comes up and boom, that's all it is.
I know what I'm doing. And then take my girlfriend out for her
drag
birthday.
it into the boat. Yes, try to bring it back. $250 round trip to Las Vegas. Set it up, Rolo. Vince.
You can find it cheaper than that.
Yeah. Come in January. Come for the AVN in January. Hot yoga. Yoga was meant to be a prerequisite before a person starts doing unimaginable levels of meditation for days without the necessities. Okay. Good to know. Hot yoga. Bikram no yoga. Do it in a hot box and then fuck your girlfriend in many different positions. Hey, Rolo, do you have any of the stats on hand, re male versus female judges, women judges giving harsher sentences for sex crimes, more lenient crimes? I do, but I'd have to go dig it up. I have that. It'd be easier if I just gave that to you on the next go around, but I do have that in my folder here. It's the separate standard of justice folder.
Wow. How many folders you got?
I got lots of folders. It's my Twitter folders. Oh man.
Long ago when I did actual economic stuff, I had a ton of folders based on data and all that.
Yeah. Oh.
And no one cared. That's why I learned. Maybe that's why I just it's a them problem. Who gives a fuck? Let it be. It'll solve itself, because I mean, we've saved plenty of young men's, but
I think that's funny you should say that, because I have had especially in the past probably like 2 or 3 years, like I've had people come up to me and just say, hey, like, man, you saved my life. I've had people at like Las Vegas airport come up to me while I'm waiting for a flight, and they're like, are you Rolo? And please keep coming. I don't mean to dissuade anybody, but it's nice to be appreciated, because I'll tell you, like, I eat so much shit online all the time, and it's so much hate. And then it's weird for me to have somebody like kind of like come up and actually just like want to shake your hand and give you a hug kind of thing. But I don't think a lot of people, certainly not the people at Peril, certainly not the people at, the DHS or whatever, understand, I think, the service that we do for guys.
Pop himself, I mean, based on the reporting, which I believe, he saved over 500 people's lives.
Yeah.
Through just him doing the internet and
I have a post called the red pill and the safety net or something like that, and I was I hate to say it, I kind of went fishing for testimonials because I wanted to put something on the back cover of my third book, and man, I tell you, people want to talk about it. I did one podcast once a while ago, and it was for a documentary that was being done by some sort of like Dutch like documentary team or something like this. This is back like when all that bullshit went down with like Anthony Johnson. And they wanted me to do a special show for people to sort of call in or to come in on StreamYard and basically talk about like what the Red Pill and what the Manosphere has done for them. And I could have kept going for hours. I had so many people who wanted to come in and just talk about, I was going through divorce. I was going to put a gun in my mouth, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of need to do that. I kind of need to do that again at some point, because I think that would really throw people's
perception
impression
off,
of what the Manosphere is really about. We would really throw it off. And that's one of the reasons I started doing Reignite, is because I wanted to be able to have that one-on-one, like boots on the ground, like, each one tell one kind of thing with guys, instead of like sitting around saying like, oh, I'm just going to do a podcast. I'm just going to go, we're going to have a bunch of hoes around our table and talk about shit and laugh it up. That's why I was also saying a lot of people just think that all I do is podcasts. Like, no, I have 5 best-selling fucking books, and you have more than I do even. So
I got to write 3 to match one of yours.
What are you at right now? Yeah,
real books
for word count.
Real books, I'd say I'm at 10. I got a couple essay links, and I got a bunch of books where we're just compendiums of my blog posts. I don't consider those, but yeah, I'm around 10. But then there's like Boris the Shitting Buffalo, which is a children's book about South Dakota. But that's not ever really meant to be a bestseller.
Can't find an illustrator for it.
No,
yet.
I found it. No, it's up there. It's Boris the Shitting Buffalo. If you want, go get it. You'll learn about South Dakota. It's funny. But no, it's 10 real books.
Yeah. So I think what happens is when we get into being quote unquote influencers, like, people just think you're an influencer. I'm like, no, dude, I'm an author before I'm anything. Right. And so what's funny is, and maybe I enjoy this a little bit too much, but like sometimes like when I'm at like Babes in Toyland, or if I'm doing some sort of event with like Mike, and I have people just coming up to me, just surrounding me, like, hey, I wanted to shake your hand. Hey, can you sign my book?
Cool.
Blah, blah, blah. And that's because I'm an author, right? That's not because, I mean, they see me on the show and they see this show, they see Access Vegas and everything. And it's every now and then, like, people need to be reminded of who you are, right? And who I am as an author. And so when I get sort of like, I won't say mobbed, but when I get like people who like recognize me just out randomly, God, I was at this one bar and grill here it's in Summerlin. It's called General Admission. It's in the Uncommons out there. Really great place.
Okay.
And I was there with Zuby.
No shit.
Yeah, I was there with Zuby, and I was there with my wife, right? It was me, Zuby, and my wife, and Miguel had come along as well. And I'm there, and this dude just comes up to me and goes, "Hey, are you Rollo Tomasi?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he wanted to shake my hand and even had a book. He wanted me to sign his book.
No shit, he had a book on hand.
He went back to his car to go get it.
That's pretty
right?
cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I thought he was like coming up to me because I was with Zuby.
You outshowed Zuby,
and I was like, and I was trying to like, and I because I naturally like, oh, he must be coming up to me because I'm hanging out with Zuby right now. He must have recognized you. He didn't even know who Zuby was,
dude.
And I'm like, it was kind of awkward, quite honestly.
Best time I ever got recognized. So, do you know Atham and Chad Elkins?
That sounds familiar.
Atham, he's kind of regular around. He hangs out, and then Chad, my buddy, has the Elkins accounting hour. He's
Atham,
my
I think I
CPM.
know.
Yeah, you probably know Atham. But anyway, so I'm hiking with him in South Dakota, and we're on Harney's Peak, which is the tallest peak. And all of a sudden, and typical guys, we never give each other a compliment. It's always kind of slamming on each other. You're a dick, fuck off, yeah, your mother. And so all of a sudden, this guy walks by. He's like, "Are you Aaron Clarey?" And I look back at my friends. I'm like, and they're like, "Oh, fuck no, god damn." I'm like, yeah. Oh, I'm a big fan. Are you a big fan now? And so we ended up hanging out. But yeah, I was just like looking at him like, "Oh, fuck you." It doesn't happen every day.
The first time I was with my niece. It was me, and it was in Tahoe, and I was there with myself, Sterling Cooper, Justin Waller, and I think Miguel was. I think Miguel might have been.
Does Miguel follow you all over the place?
We hang out. He's my partner, man. He's my bro. And so we were there at the Chart House in Lake Tahoe. It's a really kind of nice seafood restaurant. It's out right. It overlooks the lake. It's on the Kingsbury Grade. It's very, very nice.
All right.
There's other chart houses in like San Diego and stuff like that too. And so we're there, and I hate this, but I love it, but I hate it. I'm there. I'm trying to have a meal and talk to my friends and everything. My wife's there. My niece is there too, right? And dude, I see this dude who's like looking at me, and I'm like, oh, good, here comes. Like this is building. So he kind of gets up, comes over and talks to me. Say, hey, are you rolling tomorrow? I go, yeah. And I go, and this is Justin Waller and these guys too, right? And they he only knew. He's like, can I get a selfie with you? I didn't. This is just really off the wall kind of thing. So I take a selfie with him, and my niece is just like looking at me like, what the hell? Because that was the first time she was experienced that. And then the other time was I was at the CME for Donovan Sharp's thing, and I was there with Torsha, and Tori was there, and I get to I think the thing had got out or something. I was where they were just about to go into the meeting or the talk or whatever, and I had all these people just like rush me like, oh, here, I want you to sign my book. Hey, I want to get your autograph. Hey, now that I got you here, let me can you tell me about my situation, kind of thing.
No, I don't have time.
I know, exactly. So everybody gets sort of wrapped up and they go in the room, and Tori looks at me, she goes, you're kind of famous, aren't you?
Yeah,
like, weird. How long have I been fucking talking to you?
You know what the best is though? Is like, we're on the ground doing the video and all that other stuff. Mm-hmm. My dad, when it was first starting to come out, he says, wait, people pay you to answer the question? Yeah. But your book, he saw that. It's like, it's number 12. Like I recently released. He says, how many people bought it? I'm like, I don't know, like 1,000 in the past week. And he says, but you're an idiot. It's just like, yeah, Dad, I know. You know that, but they don't know that.
With a podcasting platform.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks for the confidence.
I'll tell you what's interesting is like, I always presume, if I'm in Vegas and somebody recognized me, I presume they saw me on Access Vegas.
Yeah.
No, they watch this show is what they do. And they might watch Access Vegas too, but primarily it's like either my book or it's this podcast that they recognize me from. So. Interesting stuff. We got one last one here. Shout out to Cappy and Chad's accounting course. There you go.
The world's greatest accounting career. It's a course I have on Teachable, and it's blown up because people want to work remotely and not have a boss, because Chad kept getting hit up on it. So if you want a job career, take a look. The world's greatest accounting career. It's on Teachable.
All right. Yes, Rolo famous. Okay. Thank you. Yes, I know. The humble brag section of the show is now over.
Let's talk about dick sizes. You see this table here?
Look how big this schlong is.
I'm not saying, but the sphere is the size of one of my balls.
Well, we got to do this again, man. You got to come in here again.
I'm glad. Yeah, now that I'm here for a couple months anyway.
Yeah. And if you want to do your show here, please feel free.
And if you have trouble sleeping, let me know. There are plenty of hikes. We're going on one probably tomorrow or Tuesday. You want to come with?
I can't tomorrow because I'm shooting with Mike Tang tomorrow, but Tuesday is a possibility.
All right. How are your knees?
Pretty good actually, because you know why they're good? Because I have had to lift a 77-pound Greyhound up and down the stairs for the last year and 3 months because of his condition. So yeah, but he's doing fine.
I will.
Ned's good.
I'll let me talk to my buddy. He's coming in from Prescott. We'll find out the time, and I'll text you, and if you can make it, cool.
All right, man. Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me on, man. It's good to see you
guys. We will be back. Let's see. We do not have Access Vegas until the 11th. I'll make the quick announcement right now. Myron and Fresh are coming into town on the 10th. So they want to do a show right here. We could have you in for that one too. So
I haven't seen those guys.
I want to do a roundtable. We haven't been able to do a roundtable show for a while. So it'll be me, Mike Sartain, Fresh and Fit, the Hodge twins.
No shit. Yeah, wait.
Yes,
I love it.
the
Really?
Hodge twins.
Holy fuck. That'd be great.
And you.
To hell with you guys.
If I can get Justin Waller in here, I'll get Justin in as well. But yeah, we kind of need to do an Avengers Assemble show once again. I was trying to do it in Miami, but since they're coming here, maybe we can do it here.
Yeah, dude. So, I'm totally down to hang out.
So yeah, Hodge twins, Fresh and Fit, Access Vegas, and Aaron Clarey, Asshole Consulting, Asshole Extraordinaire. So I don't know when that will be, but most likely it'll be either the 11th or the 13th of December, because December 12th is Babes in Toyland at On the Record at MGM here in Vegas. It is the Christmas edition of it. This is actually where Babes in Toyland started. It was Toys for Tots, right? So we'll be there. My wife will be present and with me at this one. So if you would like to meet Mrs. Tomasi and ask her why she sticks around with a guy like me.
She's a nice lady.
She's a nice lady. She's very nice. Yeah. And so she'll be there with me at On the Record. We'll be at, like I said, MGM. I believe it's like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And it's a charity event. So I think there's an admission. It might be $50 or $100. I'm not really sure.
Donations go to
Donation
kids.
goes to the kids, and then bring a toy. You might even be able to get out of it if you bring toys for tots. So.
And not crap toys. Don't bring
yeah,
them
bring
crap.
them some good
you know
shit,
what, kids,
man.
they like those flying machines,
G.I.
the balsa world.
Joes,
Get
yes.
the aircraft carrier.
The
Drop some money. Yeah,
the
those are fun. The balsa wood ones. See how funny he's laughing. He had a good time. He remembers.
You know, yeah. Well, balsa wood gliders, man. Those are fucking
Good
badass. You get those at like 7-Eleven.
Good times.
It's awesome. Especially if they look like a real jet, a real fighter, right? Anyways, okay, so that's us for today. And then I will be back next Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for coming, man.
No
Much
problem.
appreciated.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll see you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
We out?
Take a bath in battery acid. Would you do it again? I need to feel you on top of me. It was my first time, but I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. What do you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules now in the game. I've got some new tools. Please do the same. Time came by and went over like a matchbox stereo. Time to get my thoughts now, let go. To keep me up all night. But maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things be different. Try to, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things be different.
Bye, Felicia.
Thank you very much. Can I be in charge for a while? Now we're fucking in the bathroom, tearing up everywhere. Why don't got your hair? Why you screaming my name?
That's nasty. It is nasty, right? Isn't it nasty? Ugh.
She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and sleeping with her head like she's Claudia Kelly.
Guilty, 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 guilty.
So baby, run me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song, getting messy. Working up and down on your body. Run me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song on your body. Baby, we'll get down to it all night. But maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again.
Preceding podcast has been a production of The Irrational Male. All rights reserved. Registered trademark 2024. Don't steal my stuff.
You lose. Good day, sir.
I prefer a good cigar and a bad woman.
Sometimes you don't get no hoes, man.
Say my name.
God wants you to have the baby.